degeneration, or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
Parenting is hard. Technology can make it harder. The Family Media Plan developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics helps make it easier. Go to healthychildren.org/media plan today to create the media plan that's right for your family.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
When I watched us play last year, I was more in awe of just watching how our guys play so hard for each other in an era where the sport is becoming more and more transactional and you see almost like independent contractors. I really do believe that we have a chance to build a proper team, and I think that's why we prevailed in so many close games a year ago, is because we were a team that didn't flinch, that was mentally tough and believed in one another, whether it came down to the last play of the game, that we had each other's back to do it. And again, that's something a coach will say, that's because of me and all my great, it ain't because of me. It's just because of who they are and how they were raised.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show today. You know, I had to sit there and think for a moment before the start of the show, Victoria. I had to sit here silent and think about, it's just brought to my attention that today's National Chicken Wing Day.
Ooh.
And I was like, you know what?
It?
Flats or drumsticks?
Yeah. Ooh.
Flats all the way. Flats all the way. Garlic Parmesan. Thank you very much. Now you have my order.
See, I'm a weirdo, too, because I like boneless, which is basically just a chicken nugget.
You like chicken nuggets?
I like chicken nuggets.
Congrats. We're all 8 again.
Yeah, I know.
Who doesn't love
it's
chicken
just too
nuggets?
much work, but I also say this as someone who loves crab legs, and it's like, well, it takes you 10 years to just get anything out, so yeah.
That's why people that eat a lot of seafood, especially eating crab legs, are so thin because, like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm barely eating anything.
I'm tired of doing this.
I'm tired. I just want to go home.
I don't want to do this, so I'll stop.
Just want to go home. There's a lot of stuff that we want to get to today. It's going to be a Carolina Panther heavy day today. And obviously, if we have any breaking news on anything, we'll definitely let you know. But let's go and get this sucker started.
Let's get it started.
All right, couple news and notes here real quick from Panthers training camp. Which, I'm going to say this, knock on wood, Victoria. The injury bug has stayed out of Charlotte right now. I think because it's so damn hot, it doesn't want to go there, which makes perfect sense. But no pads at practice today. Yesterday was their first padded practice. No pads today. Dave Canales, after practice, did say they're going to be back in pads tomorrow. It's going to be a longer practice tomorrow. I think Thursday is an off day for the players, or it might just be a walkthrough day. But nonetheless, they'll be back in the pads tomorrow. But we saw some veteran guys get a day off. J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson didn't practice today, if I remember correctly. Adam Thielen maybe had a little bit of an off day today as well, or maybe did some stuff on the side, didn't do all the teamwork. Derek Brown did not practice today. Apparently, according to Dave Canales, had a little bit of oblique soreness. And just like, you know what, being super precautious. He did some work from by all accounts, off to the side a little bit as well. So, again, you got guys that you want to continue to maintain and ramp up to the season. A guy like Derek Brown is just make sure he's healthy going into the year. You already know what he's capable of doing. You want to make sure that he's at his best, obviously, going into the season. I said it yesterday, Victoria. I'll say it again. I'm perfectly okay with you missing a few snaps in July to make sure that you're healthy September, October, November, December. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. There is one injury note here, or a couple small injury notes, I guess you could say. Dan Chizina is a wide receiver who was mostly a practice squad player, played some special teams last year. Caught, I think, 3 passes last year for the Panthers. Had a calf injury, was placed on waivers, released with an injury designation. But also Chandler Zavala, who's a backup guard, played at NC State from the state of North Carolina, is out week to week with a knee injury. Suffered it yesterday during practice, actually against Derek Brown. Knee injury, week to week. Apparently, it might be a little issue with the patellar tendon, but it's not ruptured or torn. But that's going to keep him on a week-to-week basis, but there's a lot of depth on the offensive line for the Carolina Panthers, and they obviously showed it last year, and it's the reason why they brought all 9 of their offensive linemen back from last year, Victoria. There's a reason for that. They can handle a guy being out week to week. But there was a guy that was released actually over the weekend. I want to make note of this just because of the simple fact that when we look at injuries nowadays with athletes, we automatically assume that they're just going to come back and be 100% of what they were. Now, there was a player on the Carolina Panthers by the name of Amari Barno. Played at Virginia Tech, was a 6th-round pick a few years ago, was going into his 4th year with the team. Now, late in the 2023 season, his 2nd year with the team, he was a DN/outside linebacker, freak athlete who was really big on special teams. He was, again, a defensive end/outside linebacker who lined up as the gunner out wide on punts. Like those generally you see a cornerback or a wide receiver line out wide, and the other guys sprinting downfield to force a fair catch or make the first tackle. Amari Barno, as an outside linebacker, was lining up out there because he was the fastest guy out there on the field. Like, he legit was like a 4'4" guy. But late in 2023, tore his ACL, was on the physically unable to perform list for much of the year last year, came back and played in a few games late last season, but the team waived him and ended up releasing him. He passed through waivers over the weekend. And when he came back last year, didn't have the same step, the same burst, the same speed that we saw. And again, this is a guy who's 24, 25 years old and known for being the freak athlete. It just, again, goes to show you that not every player bounces back from an injury the same way. I mean, see Jonathan Brooks, the 2nd-round pick from last year's draft class. Torn ACL in college. The Panthers gave him plenty of time to ramp up. They felt that he was good to go. Played in a couple games. There goes the ACL once again. We don't even know what Jonathan Brooks can become. If he does even work out for the Panthers, he's obviously not going to play at all this season, but still things to keep in mind. When players are injured, you just don't know. That's the one thing I've mentioned. The reason why I bring that up is because Derek Brown coming back from the meniscus tear last year. We hope what he can become. If it's just the Derek Brown that we saw in 2023, great, awesome. That's the guy that earned a massive contract. But there's no guarantee of it. So when it comes to these veteran players that have dealt with injuries, like Derek Brown, if you got to give a few snaps off in July and early August to make sure that they're healthy for the season, then you make that sacrifice. And that's a sacrifice I think any team would be willing to make with their top players. But something else, Victoria, from Panthers training camp today.
Ooh, yes.
Bryce Young threw another interception.
Oh, Bryce.
Here's the thing.
That's okay. Get him out now.
Exactly. It's July. It's July.
Blame it on the heat.
Who cares? It's July. It's July. Sometimes I'll say this from my experience as a coach. I used to coach college lacrosse. In early season, during like the quote-unquote training camp, we didn't call it training camp, but early in the preseason before we actually got into games, I would tell my players, look, find your limits. Find your limits not only for yourself, but also find your teammates' limits. If you're kind of unsure if I should make this pass or make this feed or whatever it is, I would say do it. See if it works. And if you can do it consistently well enough, then you know you're capable of doing it.
Yeah.
You got to find your limits.
This is the time to work the kinks out.
Exactly.
Try the new stuff.
So, okay, you threw an interception. Cool. Okay, fine. Also could just be a great play by the defender. But I was actually thinking about this, Victoria. When it comes to Bryce Young this upcoming year, what does a successful season look like for Bryce Young? What does it look like? If we actually look statistically, Bryce Young at the end of the 2025 season, what does a successful season look like? Well, if you go back to the 10 games that he started after getting benched last year, he started the final 10 games of the year, starting with the game on the road at the Denver Broncos, finishing with the game, the overtime win in Atlanta. If you look at those 10 games, the Panthers went 4-6, 3 of those wins coming in overtime. They did have one overtime loss as well. But Bryce Young completed 61.8% of his passes, which is okay. We'll get into, people say, we'll mention drops. We'll get to drops in a second. But 61.8% of his passes were completed. 2,104 yards, 15 passing touchdowns through 6 interceptions. Also ran for 223 yards, ran for 5 touchdowns. Also did lose 1 fumble. So 20 total touchdowns. Now 5 of those did come in the final game of the season against Atlanta. So literally 25% of his touchdowns in that 10-game stretch came in one game. But if you take those numbers that I just gave you over those 10 games, after he came back as a starter, and you average that out over a full 17-game season, you're looking at about 210 yards passing a game. So about 3,576 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, about 8 or 9 rushing touchdowns, losing about 3 fumbles. And that average of the win-loss record would be about 7-10 for the Panthers. When I look at that, for a former number 1 overall pick that has been given not only a veteran receiver in Adam Thielen, which he's had since his first year, but he's been given 2 first-round draft picks at wide receiver, 2 drafted tight ends. Also, don't forget that he had a second-round draft pick in wide receiver in Jonathan Mingo a couple years ago. All of his offensive linemen back. He has his entire offensive coaching staff back from last season. Again, former number 1 overall pick, 3,500, basically 3,600 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 or 9 rushing touchdowns. Like, that to me should be a minimum expectation. Am I wrong on thinking that, Victoria? Am I wrong on thinking that? No. Again, 210 yards a game. If you look at 210 yards passing a game, Caleb Williams last year was right around 208.
Right.
And he had a disaster. Very similar situation as a rookie to what Bryce Young had to go through. Oh, coach got fired, and then all of a sudden, Thomas Brown's your offensive coordinator. Imagine that.
Yep.
Sound familiar?
Not great.
That's exactly what he had to go through. Now, you can say, hey, better weapons, better targets, because he had DJ Moore. They drafted Rome Odunze. Well, guess what? Bryce Young's getting Tedero McMillan, 8th overall pick this upcoming season. You know who was right around the 210 yards passing per game mark last season? Daniel Jones was like 207. The Daniel Jones that got fired during the season.
Wow.
That's what we're talking about. Again, I'm looking at the last 10 games of the year because everyone talked about since Bryce Young came back as the starter last year, look at those last 10 games. So that's what we're using here. I'm not even factoring in those first couple of starts that we saw, which were disastrous. People will mention about the passing yards or the completion percentage, and will mention drops. Victoria, people will mention drops. I'm using stats from Pro Football Reference, not Pro Football Focus, Pro Football Reference, which tracks all these analytics and all the advanced numbers and all that kind of stuff. Bryce Young in those last 10 starts had 14 passes that were dropped. 14. Okay? Including some big ones. Like, for example, there's that deep post route to Xavier Leggett against the Philadelphia Eagles, which should have been a touchdown. Or could have been, he was right there around the goal line. But nonetheless, that was a drop as well. Not discounting any of those things. His drop percentage for Bryce Young, 4.7%. You know what the league average was last year in drop percentage for quarterbacks? 4.7%.
Yeah.
So his drop percentage, people will mention the drops for Bryce Young last year. Well, guess what?
So was everybody else.
It was league average.
Yeah.
League average. You know who actually had worst drop percentages in the NFL last year? You know who actually was dead last or had the worst drop percentage? Was actually Daniel Jones, the aforementioned Daniel Jones. Remember the guy that got fired?
Getting paid way too much money by the Giants.
Yeah, and he was at 7.5%. Patrick Mahomes was 4.7%. Joe Burrow, 4.8%. Baker Mayfield, 4.8%. We talk about Baker Mayfield's got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. C.J. Stroud was 5.1%. Bo Nix, 5.5%. Bo Nix, who was the 6th quarterback drafted last year, in the first round to the Denver Broncos.
There's a lot of people who are excited for him for this season.
Lamar Jackson, 6.1% drop percentage last year.
Wow.
So to me, the drops aren't an excuse. They're not. They're not. Now again, I understand that some of them were costly. Probably potentially cost you the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. We all forget that there was still time on the clock against that Panthers defense last year. Bo Nix last year. I mentioned Bo Nix. Bo Nix last year threw for nearly 3,800 yards, 3,775 yards last year. Who was his best receiver? Cortland Sutton? Now, I understand he has Sean Payton as a head coach. I understand that. Different level than Dave Canales. Sean Payton's got a Super Bowl under his belt. But we're talking about Bo Nix last year, 3,775 yards, 29 touchdowns, averaging 222 yards a game passing. Can we not expect the same from Bryce Young this upcoming year, the former 1 overall pick? Am I crazy for thinking that, Victoria? I don't think I am.
No.
So Bryce Young going into year 3, it's a pivotal one. Because after this season, the Carolina Panthers have to make a decision. Are we giving this guy are we backing up the Brinks truck?
Mm-hmm. Giving him the bag.
Yeah. Is he getting the bag? Are you making that decision after this season?
Right.
Because you can make that decision after the season. You don't want to let it linger on. Because last thing you want to do is next year kind of question of like, well, what is Bryce your guy? Well, if he is, why haven't you paid him yet? You don't want that question floating around. You don't want to be like Jerry Jones in Dallas, not paying their guys. Now, certainly after this season, you'll make the decision on if you want to pick up Bryce Young's 5th-year option. That's something to keep in mind as well. But I don't think it's out of the realm of what we should expect from a number 1 overall pick quarterback that was brought in to be your franchise QB, that so many high draft picks were used to acquire this one guy. Again, you swapped first-round picks, you traded a future first and 2 seconds and your best wide receiver in DJ Moore to get this one guy.
Yep.
It should be expected, and I think it should be wanted by fans and people in the franchise to expect a lot from him.
Yeah.
Because a lot was given up for him.
Mm-hmm.
And people might say, well, he's still young and you're putting a lot on his plate. Well, great expectations come with what the cost was given to get you.
Well, and you also can't use that excuse too much when you have someone like Jaden Daniels coming in, just showing up and showing out. So It's like, okay, we are setting Bryce up with all of these weapons now. He's been given all the tools. We're trying to make him feel comfortable. Now go do something.
And I will say this. That first year was a complete and utter disaster.
It was.
It was a complete and utter disaster under Frank Reich and Thomas Brown as the offensive coordinator. It was awful.
Yep.
I mean, outside of Adam Thielen, wasn't a whole lot to work with.
No.
There just wasn't a whole lot to work with. So safe to say, big season for Bryce Young. Massive season for Bryce Young. Needed. Have to have it for this franchise. All right, something here, real quick note. As we transition over here. I saw this story yesterday about Deion Sanders, and I saw that he was having a press conference to discuss his medical condition. I was like, oh, okay, did something happen where he might have to sit games this upcoming season or whatever it might be. And Deion Sanders was very open and candid yesterday. By the way, Deion Sanders, the head coach of University of Colorado, the head football coach there, who's obviously one of the best football players, just really one of the best athletes we've ever seen. Let's not forget, he was a pretty darn good Major League Baseball player too. He talked openly yesterday about how he battled bladder cancer and actually had a tumor removed and everything. Something that wasn't made public while he was really dealing with it. And Deion Sanders discussed yesterday in a press conference on the struggles he's facing after surgery.
It's a whole life change. Like, I can't, and I'm going to be transparent, I can't pee like I used to pee. It's totally different. And she not only is a blessing, but she provided other persons that have gone through what I've gone through so that I could talk to them and get some solace and understand, like, what I'm facing, not just from a doctor, but from another individual. And to have to have been told, like, it's a totally different life. I mean, thank God. I depend on depend. You know, if you know what I mean. I truly depend on depend. Like, I cannot control my bladder. So I get up and go to the bathroom already 4 or 5 times a night. But then I'm sitting up there waking up like my grandson. We in the same thing. We got the same problem right now. We going through the same trials and tribulations. We're trying to see who has the heaviest bag at the end of the night. Like it's ridiculous. But I'm making a joke out of it, but it's real. So if you see porta potty on the sideline, it's real. I'm just telling you right now, you're gonna see it.
That's again very candid, very open about what he's dealing with right now. But he did announce that he is cancer free again after a bladder removal, and something that he also talked about and just really got emotional about was here's Deion Sanders himself about just overcoming cancer.
I'm truly thankful that God is so good. God is so good. You have no idea. You have no idea how good God has been for me to be here. You have no idea. Thank you. Thank you both for everything. Let me add this for all you people that get upset when I start talking about the Lord. I never once through this whole journey said, God, why me? Because I would have to say, God, why being you sit me up here in front of these wonderful people? Why you give me the position of the head football coach of the prestigious university? Why you allow me to father 5 wonderful kids? Why you give me these relationships with these wonderful people? Why me, Lord, did I have some of the things that I have? I can never say that. I can never say the other side because I'm going to have to ask that. I said, Lord, whatever it is that you're doing, let me know what it is so I could expedite the process because I know you got me.
Anytime we see an athlete, now for example, I know Victoria, you're a Cubs fan. Ryan Sandberg passed away, longtime Cubs legend. It was prostate cancer.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
65.
When we see the athletes that we discuss, we cover, we see as fans, we oftentimes look at them as these larger than life personalities, almost like superheroes. Correct? And when we see athletes and discussing facing their own mortality, it makes you think about it yourself. And you hear the word cancer, I say the C word. Anytime you hear that, people, it's a serious thing. No matter how small or big it is, when you hear that word, it makes you think about your own mortality, whether it's you're the one that's affected or not. Because everyone that's listening to this right now or might eventually go watch this on YouTube or whatever it might be, when you hear the word cancer, you think of someone that's been affected by it. You really have. Whether it's a family member of yours, whether it's someone that's a very close friend of yours, whomever it might be, or it's just the spouse of somebody that's really close to you. Like, everyone has been affected by it in some way, shape, or form. So to hear Deion Sanders talk about it openly, I think is very telling. But I will say this. I heard Paul Ihander. Paul Ihander, if you live in the Raleigh area and you listen to 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh, he hosts the show called Next Up from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And he's been on this program before. Paul Ihander is filling in for Adam Gold. He talked about it this morning he gave a lot of credit to Deion for not discussing this at Big Ten football media days. He didn't make it about him. He made it about the football and about the players first. He didn't do it. He didn't make it about himself during that time because he said that's basically, it wasn't the time or place. Now that afterwards, yes, we can talk about it. Now that he's cancer-free, I'm willing to talk about it. But during that time, wasn't, now's not the time or place. Apparently, even during the draft, didn't even make it open even to his own kids during the whole draft, in the NFL draft. Remember, Shedeur Sanders went in the 5th round of the Cleveland Browns. So he didn't let it be a distraction for them either, which I got to give the guy, you may not like all the pomp and circumstance that comes with Deion and the way that he carries himself, but you got to give credit where it's due.
Yeah.
You really have to.
It's definitely a, selfless thing to put other people first in that situation.
But I think it's difficult for a lot of people to openly talk about stuff that they're struggling with.
Oh, big time.
Just in general, whether it's a health issue, emotionally, financially, it's a very difficult thing for people to discuss because we've been so conditioned as a society to not display weakness.
Right, not burden people with your problems, all that stuff.
Because, I mean, I'm guilty of this myself. You know what? I don't oftentimes talk about the stuff that I'm struggling with because I know that the person I'm talking to is dealing with their own crap.
Sure,
I'm
same.
like, why would I want to burden you
Right.
with the crap that I'm dealing with? But I think it was pretty remarkable that Deion was willing and to open about that stuff. And he's like, yeah, there might be a porta-john on the sideline because I'm going to have to go use it during the course of the game. It's just a reality. It's just a fact of life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was, again, pretty telling. So hats off to Deion. Congrats to him for being cancer-free. Hopefully it stays in remission and all that. But that's not an easy thing. Not an easy thing to deal with at all. All right. Now we'll let some of the serious stuff go away here. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. We're going to get back into some Carolina Panthers discussion here. By the way, coming up at 2:30 today, Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer is going to join us here on the show. We're going to talk some Panthers. Also, later on today, is there a chance that we could get 7 wide receivers making the roster, Victoria?
Ooh.
We had a big conversation. We're going to discuss this a little bit later on today. We had a big conversation yesterday about Hunter Renfrow and the wide receiver core, and a lot of people were all in on Hunter Renfrow making the team. I actually did just before the show, for those of you watching on YouTube, which, by the way, if you go on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, search there. 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. On 99.9 The Fan, we stream this show live. You can watch it on video, waving to all the folks out there. But you can leave your thoughts in the comment section. Also, if you miss any of the show, you can just go back and watch it and listen to it in its entirety, as well as clips from the show. But I actually have a little notepad here in front of me, Victoria. Actually, before the show, I did this before training camp started. But I wrote down a list of guys I feel like that are locks to make the team.
Okay.
And I have 49 names written down. There's a 53-man roster.
Right.
So that leaves open about 4 spots.
A little bit of space.
Maybe if you want to keep that 7th wide receiver, it's a possibility. We'll discuss that a little bit later on. But there's a guy that I wrote down as a lock on my list that needs to lock it down this season. We'll discuss that person in 4 minutes.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Here's how you know the Bill Belichick hype is through the roof. At ACC Media Kickoff, Dabo Swinney, one of the most popular, famous coaches in the country, was walking around giving interviews, and almost no one was following him. That's because every media member was up at Bill Belichick's press conference hoping for just a few seconds of audio from the UNC coach.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog Combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
At Wells Fargo, we know what got you into your business. Whether it's manufacturing, running a restaurant, or your business from home. What you didn't get into your business for was banking. But luckily, Wells Fargo offers business checking, payments, and lending all in one place, in your neighborhood and on our app, so you can focus on doing what you love. Wells Fargo, you're good at business, we're good at business banking. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/business. Terms apply. Wells Fargo Bank and a member FDIC.
At Bailey's, love not only sparkles, but it also gives back. Hi, I'm Marcy Bailey. Yes, we have high-quality certified diamonds that fit your budget. But did you know that when you say I do with an engagement ring from Bailey's, a donation is made to the food bank to help feed a local family of 4 for an entire month? Celebrate your love with Bailey's, where every diamond helps create a brighter future. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted the best place to buy your diamond.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? It's all here, only with Spectrum TV Select. Popular apps are included: Disney Plus, Max, Peacock Premium, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and more. And live TV for sports, entertainment, and news. Enjoy across your devices no matter when or where you are. Get Spectrum TV Select and start streaming your favorites today. It's all here. Visit spectrum.com/entertainment. Restrictions apply.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 13th. An accredited state university, University of Maryland Global Campus offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits towards a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
This is Adam Gold.
You know, soap attracts dirt, right? That's what soap does. It attracts dirt. Right now, Bill Belichick is soap. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's soap.
Yeah.
He's attracting all this dirt.
Or he's like an overripe banana and it's attracting all these gnats.
The Adam Gold Show.
So as I said about 4 minutes ago, there's one player that I feel that is a lock to make the Carolina Panthers roster that I feel it needs to lock it down this upcoming season. It's Ike Ekwonu, left tackle. And the reason why I bring that up is because it was reported earlier today that the Indianapolis Colts reached a 4-year contract extension with left tackle Bernard Raymond. 4-year contract, $100 million. So you're looking at a $25 million average per year, which puts him up at top 5 in the NFL. That's equivalent to Laramie Tunsil with the Washington Commanders, who's 31 years of age. Christian Darrisaw with the Minnesota Vikings is at $26 million a year. Rashawn Slater, who just got paid big time by the LA Chargers, is making $28.5 million a year. Now, the guy that I just mentioned that is making the aforementioned $25 million a year in Raymond was a third-round pick by the Indianapolis Colts in 2022. Ike Ekwonu was the 6th overall pick in 2022 at the exact same position. Now, if you look at what Ike Ekwonu has done so far in his first 3 years in the NFL, where has he struggled? It's pass blocking. Now, if you look at his run blocking grades, he's one of the best in the entire league. Now, last year, according to Pro Football Focus, again, Pro Football Focus is, they basically do film breakdown and they assign grades to players. I take Pro Football Focus with grains of salt and a few cracks of pepper, Victoria. Maybe even smother a little garlic parmesan on there.
Ooh, nice.
It is National Chicken Wings Day. So you know what?
Do it.
Do a dry rub, whatever you got to do. But his overall grade, Ike Ekwonu, was 71.7 last year. Again, on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 obviously being the best. A grade of 71.7. That ranked 38th overall out of 140 tackles in the NFL. Now, only 64 are actual starters. Again, you have guys that get hurt and will come in and play at different times. Like Brady Christensen played left tackle at different times last season because Ike Ekwonu did get banged up a little bit. But he ranked overall 38th in the NFL, which will put you average. Average overall in the NFL among tackles. Now, if you go to his run blocking grade, he was at 80.5. 80.5 was 11th best in the NFL among tackles. That's elite level run blocking. Now, his pass blocking grade, Victoria, was a 66.2, which was 65th in the NFL. Again, 64 players start at tackle. He rated 65th in pass blocking grade.
Dead last.
Again, well, not dead last, but at 140, he was 65th. We saw, if you look at overall run block win rates, again, the advanced numbers, and pass block win rates as an offensive line as a whole. Last year, the Panthers were ranked 10th in the NFL in run block win rate. 10th best in the NFL. Not surprising, Victoria, that the running game was pretty damn good. They were 30th as a whole, as a unit, the offensive line was in pass block win rate. 30th in the NFL. There are 32 teams. So third worst. 10th best rushing, third worst in terms of pass protection. Now, the reason why I bring up this is a big year for Ike Ekwonu is that they did pick up the 5th-year option on his rookie contract. This is year 4 for him, so he is under contract for next year. But much like a few minutes ago when we talked about Bryce Young, this is I hate to use the term make or break, but it feels like a make or break season for Ike Ekwonu, because if he lives up to that 6th overall pick potential, then you got to pay the guy a big-time contract. Again, he's going to be going into the final year of his contract next year, and you might be looking to spend potentially the $25 million a year range or the $26 million a year range, because that's what the market dictates. Now, Ike Ekwonu is still a really young guy, 25 years old. But you look at guys like, again, Rashawn Slater's 26. He's making $28.5 million. Andrew Thomas of the Giants is making $23.5 million. Again, a guy that was just drafted in his draft class, and Bernard Raymond just got $25 million a year on an extension. Drafted the exact same year, and that guy was a 3rd-round pick. So this season is pivotal for Ike Ekwonu because his level of play is going to dictate so much of what's going to happen with the future of this team. If Bryce Young balls out and has a big year, well, then guess what? You're also going to have to pay Bryce Young too. And if Ike Ekwonu has a big year, now you got to pay both those guys, which then is going to obviously have the trickle-down effect on everyone else. Now I got to make sure that my rookie receivers stay intact with Xavier Legette, Tedero McMillan, Jalen Coker. I'll throw Jimmy Horn Jr. in the mix because now I'm paying some of these premium players in premium spots. I got to be inexpensive in others. But let's say Bryce Young does have a really good year, Victoria, but Ike Ekwonu struggles. Well, then now the Dan Morgan in the front office, they have to decide, okay, well, now do I have to go draft a left tackle this upcoming year, or do I have to spend big money in free agency to go get a left tackle? As opposed to, I've got my franchise left tackle, I've got my franchise quarterback, now I can use that 1st-round pick, Victoria, on, hey, let's go get another premium defensive player.
Right.
Because we need that. We need another premium defensive player. We need another premium, whatever it might be. You know what? We need to go get that ball hawking safety, someone that can really make plays and cause turnovers, or someone on another edge rusher to go wrong with Scorton and Numamielen and continue to build there with young players. But if we have a struggle at left tackle, now I got to devote resources to going somewhere else. So this is why I say it's a make or break year for Ike Ekwonu. Yes, he does have the final year of his 5th-year option was picked up next year, but so much of what you do or what the Panthers are going to do a year from now is going to be dictated by really just a couple of guys. Ike Ekwonu, Bryce Young. There's so much that's going to be riding on those two guys this season. Again, if you feel like Bryce Young is going to be your guy, then guess what? You're going to pay him a boatload of money this coming offseason. And if you feel like Ike Ekwonu could be, you know what, he really is developing to that anchor left tackle that we feel we can protect Bryce Young for the next 5 years, well, then, of course, you're going to pay him as well. And if you have those two positions solidified and you feel really good about your young wide receiving core, well, guess what? I can make a luxury pick. Hey, I can go after another primetime corner to go along opposite side of J.C. Horn with my first-round pick next year, or that big-time playmaking safety, or another edge rusher or a guy that's on my interior front that can really wreak havoc on the defensive side of the ball. But if Ike Ekwonu struggles this year, well, then now I have to go, well, no, now we're going to go pay money elsewhere, or to use a draft pick or two to go get a left tackle that I need to protect my franchise QB. So really, there's so much riding on this season on a couple of guys, Bryce Young and Ike Ekwonu, just because of where they stand in terms of what their contract eligibility is, in terms of signing extensions and all that. There's so much riding on the line on those two guys, which is crazy to think about. Crazy to think about. Now, people have contended and have pushed and said, you know what, Ike Ekwonu might be an elite level guard, which is true, which the Panthers might realize, hey, you know what? Damian Lewis, who they signed to a contract as a free agent last year, after 2 years of a 4-year contract, maybe the decision is they move on from Damian Lewis and they kick Ike Ekwonu inside. Hey, you'll be less expensive, but you know our offensive system, just go be a run-blocking mauler.
Yeah, we'll take it.
But then you still got to worry about what you got to do at left tackle.
Yeah.
There's still questions that arise. But Ike Ekwonu can erase all doubts this coming season.
Yeah.
Much like we talked about with Bryce Young, Ike Ekwonu can do that, Victoria.
I just want him to fit in somewhere. You know, that's
Sure.
we're just frustrated because he's local to here, so of course we want to see him be successful, but I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of promise for him, and it's there. We've seen it in little snippets. So whatever he's comfortable with and whatever works best with the team, hopefully both of that meshes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I mentioned that Bernard Raymond that signed the contract extension with the Colts. And in comparison of Pro Football Focus grades, again, Pro Football Focus, take this all with a grain of salt, his grades compared to Ike Ekwonu. Again, Ike Ekwonu's grade overall was a 71.7, 38th in the NFL last year among offensive tackles. The overall grade for Raymond, 85.1, 8th best among tackles. Wow. Pass blocking grade for Raymond was an 82, 14th best among offensive tackles. That's an elite level. Run blocking grade, 80.7. That was 10th best in the NFL among tackles last year. So he's elite level at both pass blocking and at run blocking. His run blocking grade even slightly better than Ike Ekwonu's. So there's another level of Ike Ekwonu to get to. And imagine this, Victoria. We'll close this on this thought. If Ike Ekwonu, still super young, raises that level to be up to that 6th overall pick potential, Bryce Young doesn't have to worry about getting hit from the blind side.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how much more time Bryce Young's have to stand in the pocket. Imagine how much better Bryce Young's stats will be.
Oh, yeah.
Just imagine that.
Take that pressure away from him. I'd love to see that.
Because he got, let's keep this in mind. The last 10 games of the year last year for Bryce Young, again, we talked about his stats. He was still sacked last year. Those last 10 games, a lot.
Yeah.
He was sacked 22 times in those last 10 games. If you look at over a 17-game season, that's over 37 sacks given up. That's still a good amount. If you get that number down, then guess what? Bryce's numbers get better, Xavier Legette, everyone else's numbers rise. One guy's got to anchor it down. That's got to be Ike Ekwonu. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. On the other side, one-timers. Bring the best questions, Victoria. One-timers next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
As the health director in Haywood County and a nurse here in North Carolina, I can tell you that the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline saves lives.
No matter your struggle, you are not alone. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is free, private, and always available.
988 Lifeline counselors are ready 24/7 to speak with you, help you cope, and get you connected to the support that is right for you.
988, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good good old days are being made right now.
Open the lid on a carton of Bluebell Homemade in the Shade, and you'll have it made, so to speak. It's a combination of our top-selling homemade vanilla ice cream with a swirl of rich chocolate fudge sauce. Enjoy an instant classic.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
You can be a wildlife hero. Did you know that visiting North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens in Asheboro supports efforts to protect wildlife and wild places? The North Carolina Zoo is a global leader in wildlife conservation, working to save endangered species of both plants and animals, such as elephants, red wolves, and gorillas. Plan a family-friendly day trip to the North Carolina Zoo to learn how you can join the mission to save endangered species from extinction. Learn more at nczoo.org.
Your child's doctor shares your goals, a healthy future for your child. Doctors recommend vaccines throughout childhood because they protect what matters most, your child's future from preventable disease and serious illness. Discuss any questions you have and check that your child is up to date and talk about any concerns. You're right to have questions. Get real answers. Start a conversation with your doctor today. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Did you know Atlantic hurricane season runs through November? From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry, I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
I haven't heard this song in a minute, Victoria.
I know,
well
right?
Done.
Shinedown can throw
I
down.
know.
They put on a really good show.
I haven't seen them in concert.
Oh, man.
But
it's fun.
Shinedown can throw down. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Let's throw it down with some one-timers. Let's go. All right, Victoria, take it away.
Alrighty here. So, looking at our first one, we've got one on our YouTube stream.
Okay.
This one is from Chef Wolf.
Oh, shout out Chef Wolf.
Right. Who do y'all think will be the Canes breakout player of the year?
Oh, Canes breakout player of the year. Oh, that's a good question.
It
That's
is
a
a
really good one because there's a lot of legitimate candidates on that. I feel like a lot of people are already pretty high on Logan Stankoven, especially the way he played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you want to classify him, I would not disagree with you at all. Jackson Blake, I could see it as well. He overall had a strong rookie season.
Yeah.
Playoffs left a little something to be desired, but again, he's still a pup. He's 22 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually look at some of his expected goals per 60 minutes and things along those lines, he was right up there with Seth Jarvis on a lot of those categories. So I could definitely see him as a breakout star as well. Because, again, there's a lot of really good young players for the Canes. But I want to go with the big Russian defenseman, Alexander Nikishin.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. Now, there's been a lot of hype and buzz around... around Nikishin. I'm just choked up thinking about it. There's a lot of hype and buzz about what he did in the KHL, and for the last couple years, people have labeled him the best defenseman not playing in the NHL. You know, that's college, juniors, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
The best defenseman not playing in the NHL. Now that he actually is in the NHL, I'm curious to see what he's going to look like full-time playing with the Canes. Because remember, he didn't arrive until basically the playoffs started last year, and didn't get a chance to play until the actual in playoff games, which is just when you're trying to learn a new system, trying to be in a new country and learn a new language and all those things, it takes a while to learn. We have seen veteran defensemen struggle picking up the Kane system. Like, it took Brent Burns, even when he was still skating at a fast level a few years ago, and is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Struggle with understanding the Kane system and learning and picking it up. Sean Walker took him a little bit of time to pick it up. But once these guys got used to it, even Brady Shea, once they got used to it and understood what their role was, we saw them blossom. And I hope that's the case. I hope it's Alexander Nikishin this season. But if you wanted to tell me it's Jackson Blake, you want to tell me the breakout guys can be Logan Stankoven, I wouldn't disagree with you at all.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. The first two that popped up just off the bat, Stankoven and Jackson Blake. But I love Jack. Last season, I loved Jackson Blake and just watching how he grew and how fast he grew. And Rod Brindamore obviously sees something in him that he loves. He trusts him already as such a young guy. So I think maybe one more season under his belt, he might be that next one next year. But Stankoven, he's all ready to go. He's a Kane. Let's
I know.
go.
That guy's like, that's our guy right
he's
there.
He's our dude.
There was a stretch last year where Jackson Blake, where the puck just wasn't finding the back of the net, but he was creating more scoring opportunities than any other Kane. He just wasn't cashing in.
He's fearless.
Yeah, and he's actually one of the more skilled players with the puck on his stick. I think Jackson really does have a bright future. I mean, I would not be shocked if he has a 25 goal, like a potentially close to a 25 goal season this upcoming year. It would not surprise me at all. All depends on who he's going to be playing with. But if you were to tell me going into this upcoming season that Jackson Blake would have a 23 goal, 48 point type season, be like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Right. I know.
He's super young still.
We'll see how Miller kind of shakes up the lines too and makes the other guys, amp up maybe. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Among the defensive pairs, yeah. I would not be surprised if Nikishin, I know we got to get to more one-timers. We can talk this about a little bit later on, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nikishin starts as a quote-unquote third-pair defensive defenseman, or third-pair defenseman, I should say. That wouldn't surprise me to start things off as he still continues to get used to playing in North America, but Rob Brindamore can easily find extra ways to get him ice time for sure.
Learn the language up here. And I know I see Chris on the YouTube stream. He's like, Svetch! I wish that we could say Svetch. I would love to see Svetch have a great breakout year.
I saw that as well from Chris. Svechnikov being a breakout year. It's hard to say a breakout per year for a guy who's already been an all-star and has had a 30-plus goal season. It's hard to say breakout in that regard.
Well, moving on to the next one-timers, kind of along the same lines of the rookie area. We were talking about football.
All right.
And how long would you give a rookie time to fit in before moving on from them? Before you're like, okay, hands are clean. It's not happening.
In terms of the NFL? Well, there's context that has to come with that answer. If I drafted a rookie in the 6th or 7th round and I realized, actually, this guy just doesn't have it, I'm more quick to potentially move on, or maybe we'll waive that person and we can stash him on our practice squad. But if I put a high draft pick, for example, a Teteroa McMillan or Xavier Leggett, then I'm giving them a few years easily. So I think there's a lot of context that comes into that question, or at least answering that question, because they're not all the same, if that makes sense. If I drafted Tenero McMillan, in this case for the Panthers, 8th overall, I'm giving that person time. Let's not forget, Ike Kwanu was the 6th overall pick. He's going into year 4, and we're still like, not sure. So, again, it all just depends on really how much you invested into that player.
Okay, well, you said it's National Chicken Wing Day.
Yes, let's go.
So, on the chair, I know you've talked about whether you're a flats or a drumstick person. However, you didn't answer whether you're a dry rub or a saucy person.
I generally am not very big with sauce on wings. I'm generally not, with the exception of one. It's garlic parmesan.
I mean, you could put that on everything.
Garlic
Fries,
parmesan wings
chicken,
are the best.
pizza, I don't even care.
I don't know. Now we're getting ambitious.
I know.
But to me, garlic parmesan wings are the absolute best. I actually love a good dry rub on wings as well. I think that's criminally underrated. But I don't need the ranch. I don't need the blue cheese. I don't need them hot or anything. Just give me a good garlic parmesan, and I'm set. Now, I'll take flats over drumsticks. Doesn't mean I won't eat drumsticks, but I'll take flats. Give me the flats, garlic parmesan wings, 10 times out of 10. Now I'm hungry.
I know, right?
Now I'm hungry. Now I need to take a break. Think about, hey, Dennis, you can't eat those things right now. You're on a pretty strict diet on some stuff. But that's okay. That's okay. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. Victoria Votenecker producing the show today. We'll have more on Panthers training camp next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary, home of the original no closing cost mortgage. Are you ready to have your mind blown? You can save money when you buy a house or when you refinance a house just by not paying closing costs. That's right. Just don't pay them. Go to Miller Lending and you won't have to. Banks, other lenders, either charge you closing costs, which thousands of dollars, or they roll those closing costs into the loan amount. You don't want that, by the way. And I just saw that rates tick down just a hair. Maybe it's a sign of things to come. If so, don't pay closing costs ever and refinance free of charge when the rates come down. Save yourself thousands and then hundreds. I'm an 11-time customer. I would not steer you wrong. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. They are an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
How about a little taste of NFL football? The Pro Football Hall of Fame game. The Los Angeles Chargers.
Herbert throws it in the air. Catch made. McConkey takes it all the way for the touchdown. 86 yards.
Detroit.
Jamison Williams gets a block, breaks a tackle, 20, staggers to the 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown, Detroit!
Thursday night at 8 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions. Like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures. Until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
August 11th is National 811 Day. 811 is the first step to getting your buried underground utilities like gas, electric, or internet lines located. Having these lines marked before digging helps keep you, your family, and your neighborhood safe. Play it safe when you plan on digging and call or click 811 3 working days before you dig. Learn more at nc811.org. Sponsored by North Carolina 811 and the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with this station.
Lowe's knows big savings make a big difference, especially when you're shopping for appliances. Hurry in to get up to 30% off select major appliances. Plus, My Lowe's Rewards members get free delivery, free haul away, free installation and parts on purchases of $2,500 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Price, delivery time, and vehicle availability may vary based on order size and location. Exclusions apply. See Lowes.com/delivery for more details.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask second grade teacher Mr. Torres.
Put me and just one Clorox wipe on a team? We can take on crayon smudges, sticky fingerprints on every surface, sneezes on the door handle, juice box explosion by the sink, snack crumbs, and don't even get me started on the bathroom passes.
Clorox disinfecting wipes. Teacher's #1 wipe.
Think about it. Bathroom passes.
Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I think just confidence in his approach. You feel the confidence coming off of him, of the schedule, of the philosophy, of what he wants out of players, and what is it going to take for you as a player to extend your career here, like what he's exactly looking for. You have a lot of confidence in knowing that I can just go and be myself and do exactly what they want. And so again, it really comes down to just confidence in the approach, and we all feel that.
Those are the words of veteran wide receiver Adam Thielen of the Carolina Panthers. That's actually a question I asked him, Victoria. He had media availability via Zoom back on Friday last week. And I asked him, what have you seen from Dave Canales going into year 2? And that was his answer, is that he is just more confident in what he is doing. And I think that's something that can't be overlooked this upcoming season for the Carolina Panthers. As we get into more Panthers discussion. Actually, let's go and get take 2 going here, Victoria, here on the Adam Gold Show. By the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. I remember when I asked him, Adam Thielen, that question about Canales, and you could see it on Thielen's face, is that how much more sure Canales is of himself. He said it's as opposed to, I think this is what's best, as opposed to, I know this is what's best. I know this is what we're going to do.
It's more confident. We like confidence.
Yes. Confidence, more sure of yourself, more reassuring to yourself and reassuring to your players that this is what I believe, this is what we need to do. As I know it's not the exact same, but I used to coach college women's lacrosse. And my first year as a head coach, I thought I had answers on what to do. I thought this is the way I needed to structure practice. I thought this is the way that we needed to do different things on the field. I thought. When I got to year 2 and then year 3 as a head coach, I knew. I knew so much more. Now, there were still things I had to continue to learn and to tweak and adjust and adapt to the team I was coaching. And if, I went from one school to another, different resources and different situations. So there's still stuff to learn, but I was so much more confident in myself going into year 2 and year 3 as a head coach than I was my first year. Again, I thought I had ideas of what I wanted practices to look like. I had ideas of what I wanted my team to look like, but I still had to fully learn my team, and they had to fully learn me as well. And that just comes with time. So hearing that from Adam Thielen talking about Dave Canales, I think is pretty remarkable. And I think this is, we talk about players, we talked earlier about Ike Ekwonu as a player that needs to raise his level of play, Victoria. And Bryce Young included in that. These are, again, super young players. Xavier Leggett, I'll throw in there. Guys that just simply need to raise their level of play. This is something where I think where Dave Canales continued to raise his level as a coach and as a play caller. He's going into year 3 as someone who's calling plays. His first year coming with Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2023. Last year, obviously, with the Panthers, and now going to year 2 with Carolina. How does he learn as a play caller in certain situations of like, okay, if I'm throwing the ball here, or am I going to line up and run, whatever it might be in this. Okay, it's 3rd and 3. Where am I at on the field? Down distance, all that kind of stuff in a crucial situation. What's he calling? Now, obviously, there's always context of, well, I would love to run the ball here, but my best run blocker in Robert Hunt on the interior is out. Okay, well, maybe I'd run this to a different area, or maybe I call a different play, whatever it might be. There's so many different things that factor into those decisions, but the more you experience it with live game reps, the better. I think it was so valuable, Victoria. I think again, something we can't overlook. Last year, the Carolina Panthers played in a lot of overtime games.
They did.
They played in a lot of overtime games. Now, they won 3.
Yeah.
They did lose 1 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but in the last 10 games of the year, they won 3 overtime games. They won in overtime in Germany and Munich against the New York Giants. They also won at home in overtime against the Arizona Cardinals in the final game of the season last year, where Bryce Young had 5 touchdowns. They won in overtime against the Atlanta Falcons on the road, and they lost at home to Tampa Bay in overtime. But they were also in close games against the Philadelphia Eagles and in close games against the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are just valuable lessons for a young coach, for a young quarterback, and just young players to experience those things. Because now, when they get into it this year, offensively, because there's so much continuity from last year with all 5 of your starting offensive linemen plus all the 9 reserves that played a bunch for you last year. So basically, you're all 9 offensive linemen coming back. Your top 4 receivers from last year with Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, Jalen Coker, and David Moore was your 4th best receiver last year. Those 4 guys coming back with the additions of, obviously, McMillan, Renfro, and Jimmy Horn Jr., but JT Sanders coming back into year 2. Tommy Tremble coming back, even though he's dealing with the back injury. Chuba Hubbard coming back into the mix as well. And you supplemented your offense with Rico Dowdle and Trevor Etienne and, like I mentioned, Teteroa McMillan, Mitchell Evans coming in. And Hunter Renfro. You supplemented your roster, but that core can refer back to, hey, guys, we've been through this before. Remember last year against Kansas City? Hey, remember last year against the Giants? Remember last year against the Eagles? Remember last year against Arizona? Remember last year against the Falcons? Remember last year against Tampa Bay? Where we face these tight situations late? You can draw back on that experience, which is huge. And I think that's going to be a big thing for this Panthers team going forward. I know there's always hope this time of year, Victoria. There always is. There's a lot of optimism. We can talk ourselves into a lot of different things, especially if you compared things to last year. Like we mentioned just a moment ago, hey, you had an overtime loss against Tampa. You had a real close loss against Kansas City. You had a real close loss against the Eagles last year. Hey, that's 3 games right there. Now you're looking at 8 and 9. But we also have to sit there and say, yeah, well, you still barely won in overtime against the New York Giants. Even though you felt like you were controlling that game, you still went to overtime. Even though your defense actually didn't really give up much of anything in that game. You still went to overtime against the Giants. You still went to overtime against the Falcons. You went to overtime against the Cardinals. You didn't beat anybody last year that finished with a record better than 500. Now, I consider the Falcons and Cardinals 500 teams because 8, 9, 9, and 8, you're basically a 500 team. Keep all those things in mind. Yeah, you beat the Raiders last year. Andy Dalton started that game. That was week 3. And you beat the Saints last year at home by 1 on a game where statistically they outperformed you in pretty much every single way. But hey, you did pull out the win. All things to take into consideration. Now, quick news and notes here from Panthers training camp today. By the way, coming up here in about less than 90 minutes, we'll be joined by Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer. Check out the work of the Charlotte Observer that he does covering the team. He does a fantastic job. But a couple news and notes here. Some of the veteran guys got a little bit of a rest day today. There are no padded practice today. Yesterday they were in pads. Tomorrow is going to be a padded practice. Going to be a little bit of a longer practice as well. But no padded practice today. Just helmets. But J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, Adam Thielen, a little bit of a rest day. Derek Brown was feeling a little soreness in his oblique. so he was off to the side doing some stuff, which it honestly probably was going to be a rest day for him anyways. He's still ramping back up from the knee surgery that he had last year. Chandler Zavala, the backup offensive lineman who played at NC State, is going to be week to week, has a knee injury that he suffered on Monday to his patellar tendon in his knee, but it's not ruptured, but still it's going to be a week to week thing for Chandler Zavala, which means Cade Mays, who they brought back, Brady Christensen, who they brought back, those guys are going to have to pick up the slack on the interior, which also might allow more time for Austin Corbett to potentially win that starting center position. There really is only one position battle I see, at least among the starters, at least offensively. There's only really one position battle I see, Victoria, and that's really, is it Austin Corbett or Cade Mays as your starting center? That's really it. That's really all I see. Defensively, it seems like everything is kind of, positions are already kind of locked down.
Yeah, it appears that way.
I was interesting. I was talking about this with a couple people in the Panthers organization at training camp about how it feels like this upcoming season, there's really only battle for like position battles or roster battles really for about 5 spots.
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
There's about 47 guys that you can pretty much, again, barring injuries, that you can sit there and say, yeah, that guy's making the team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about, okay, do they want to keep a 7th defensive lineman as opposed to maybe 6? Do you potentially go out and find an extra outside linebacker if you feel like DJ Johnson can't make the team? Now, there might need to go find an extra corner and an extra safety and maybe an extra inside linebacker, potentially as depth reasons. But again, we're talking really 5 spots? 6?
Yeah.
Do you keep 7 wide receivers? We'll discuss that a little bit later on in the show, but it feels like going into this offseason that there's really about just 6 spots that are open. Because remember, last year, they had the initial 53-man roster, and then they went and made waiver claims. I think it was 6 guys that they made waiver claims on, and they were constantly bringing in other guys during the course of the season. There was a lot of turnover over the course of the year last year. But I don't see them really having to go outside of the current roster to bring guys in for their 53-man. With the exception of maybe 2. Like, do you go get a corner? Do you go get a safety? Or both? Or maybe an inside linebacker? That's really about it in terms of what we're looking at from the Panthers roster this year. But again, injuries and all that stuff can take a factor into it. Knock on wood, Panthers so far have been healthy during training camp. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vonecker producing the show as always. By the way, if you miss any of the show, check out the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast. It's available wherever you discover your favorite podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you name it, it's out there. But also a great resource for you out there to interact with the show is you go on YouTube. You can actually search the Adam Gold Show on YouTube. Or if you want to, go on YouTube as well and search 99.9 The Fan. 99.9 The Fan. Search that on YouTube. 99.9 The Fan on Raleigh is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. You can stream and watch the show live. There are also different video clips from the show that are posted as well. Leave your thoughts in the comments. We have the comment section in the live stream as well. Interact with us there. Leave your thoughts there as well. We love that you all can be part of the show, so you can interact with us there for sure. If you disagree with what we're saying, that's okay. I like it. I like hearing other people's perspectives as well. And also you can ask questions too. Like, for example, Blind Perception says, how many easy for me to say, Victoria, how many wide receivers will we roster?
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a tongue twister.
I was going to say, maybe you're just thinking of chicken wings again.
I am.
That sounded delicious.
It really did.
Garlic Parmesan.
But how many wide receivers will the Panthers roster this year? I think it's guaranteed 6, and coming up in a little bit while, I'll state the case as to why you can make 7. Like, legit keep 7 wide receivers on this roster and not have to sacrifice anywhere else. We'll discuss that a little bit more coming up later on. But Victoria, I saw this on ESPN.com earlier today. ESPN.com ranked NFL rosters based on their players that are younger than the age of 25. Now, younger than the age of 25. We're going to open this up here just a little bit. We're going to blind rank, again, a blind ranking of Carolina Panthers players age 25 or younger currently on the roster. Blind ranking next.
From the heels,
Touchdown, Carolina!
to the canes,
She scores!
he covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the preseason, so me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, are back in the trenches with our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp rolls forward. Insight on the rookies, the fresh free agents and surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless, in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
Discover the thrill of precision and elegance with Omega. From the depths of the ocean to the heights of space, Omega's Seamaster and Speedmaster collections are crafted for those who dare to explore. With a heritage rooted in innovation and a timeless style inspired by sports, space, and cinematic legends, Omega is made for every adventure. Find your perfect watch at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, voted best jeweler. Learn more at baileybox.com.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 Bird Dogs for just $5 or 2 Bird Dog Combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just 1 pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's why.
The Adam Gold Show.
Victoria, I want to know your thoughts on this real fast.
Yes.
Being a Panthers fan.
Oh, yeah.
Which team in the division you hate the most?
This season?
No,
'Cause it
just in
changes.
general. Like Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa. Which team in the division do you like? I can't stand them. Doesn't matter what year it is. I hate those guys.
It's usually the Falcons.
Yeah, Atlanta?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because sometimes that's a collective effort of also, sorry if you're a fan, but like sometimes the fans are nastier of the teams.
Yeah.
Like they're usually, and I've been to plenty Panthers games where, it's just you get a vibe from them. So, but yeah, it's usually the Falcons because sometimes they also have this ego that I'm like, where is this coming?
Yeah, no. I'm like,
excuse you?
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Atlanta. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
When I ask Panthers fans that question, I get a generally torn between Atlanta, New Orleans. Atlanta, like they're both pretty up there, but I feel like Atlanta.
The Saints just came from when Breeze was there and they were good and it was annoying to play them and now it's not going to be for a minute.
It was freaking Sean Payton. I remember when the Panthers played at the Broncos this past year, Sean Payton, the head coach of the Denver Broncos. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot how much I hate that guy.
I still don't like him because of that. Like, because it's just all that's. And Adam and I, we even joked about this on the show because I, to this day, do not like Sean Payton because of that. But Drew Brees, I could probably get down with him. Like he seems like a cool guy. You know, seems like a nice person. So
and you got you got to respect the level of play of Drew Brees and stuff as well. But it's like Sean Payton. It's like gosh, man. You want to talk about he's Captain Petty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with petty. Mm-hmm. You know, I could be a little petty myself. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Yeah, well, sports is a competition.
Yeah,
I get
that
it.
Guy. Get out of here.
Gross.
Kick rocks.
Rat.
But yeah, Atlanta. That's Atlanta.
Yeah, I know.
Go. Speaking of National Chicken Wing Day, go enjoy your lemon pepper wings.
Mm-hmm.
Go enjoy them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Can't stand Atlanta. All right. Victoria.
Yes.
By the way, it's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. By the way, if you follow us and watch us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, let us know your thoughts. Who do you hate the most? Is it Atlanta, New Orleans, or Tampa? If you're a Panthers fan, I'm just curious to see what people say. Or you can, on social medias, whatever it might be, at The Fan Rookie, you can give me a follow there, and V to the Victoria as well. Let us know.
Yeah.
Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa. Which one do you not like?
And if you follow me on Twitter, then you know the answer
Yeah,
to that question.
exactly. It's Atlanta. It's the damn Falcons. That's why I feel like that last game of the year last year when they won in overtime and Bryce balled out at the 5 touchdowns and just winning that game in overtime. I was like, yeah, and it was at Atlanta too.
Cherry.
Take that.
Loved
that
it.
felt so good.
It always does.
Like, yeah. Take that.
Those division games, man. Oh, talk about stressing me out.
I know. But I was so happy that they won that game.
Me too.
So
Same.
happy that they
And
won
it's hard to win at the Dome, too. Like,
it's not easy.
It's really difficult to win there. So the fact that they could, even with their, surf and swagging going on, I'm like, yes. So we should do that multiple times this year.
Can't stand Atlanta.
Yeah.
All right. ESPN wrote an article today where they ranked NFL rosters based on players below the age of 25. So 24 or younger. They kind of ranked each team's rosters in that regard. So, again, evaluating talent under the age of 25. Now, there was the methodology to it was number of starts by the player, number of snaps played, the value and length of their contract, draft value, these kinds of things, expected key starters. Are there a significant injury history, those kinds of things. So that was kind of the methodology that they used in order to rank their rosters. Now, the number one ranked of that group was the Houston Texans because you still have C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley Jr., Kamari Lassiter, some of these really young guys that they ranked as blue chips. For players aged 24 or younger for the Panthers going into this season, ranked 12th. In the NFL. Okay, it means like your young players are good. Last year going into 2024, they were 19th in the NFL going into the 2024 season. So they, according to the ESPN ranking, went from 19 to 12 in terms of talent below the age of 25. Now, we're going to do a blind ranking because below the age of 25 is pretty limiting. So we actually increased this for our blind ranking to include players of age 25 or younger. So we're going to blind rank Carolina Panthers players age 25 or younger. Now, I don't know which players Victoria is going to choose. I don't know which the order in which she's going to give me these said players. So, again, that's why we call it a blind ranking. I got to rank them 1 through 5. Victoria, take it away.
Okay. All right, so let's kick things off with my favorite person who eats raccoon. And I would try this, maybe, potentially. I say that, but only for him and his belt buckles. Xavier Legette.
Oh, Legette. Okay. This is a tough one to start off with.
I know.
It really is, because the upside and the potential is there.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I saw at minicamp in June and what I saw from training camp so far, especially what I've seen in person with my own eyes, and I have video of it too, I can reference this stuff. He looks healthier and faster. And he just looked more confident.
Yeah.
Because last year, I think because he was still battling, he was dealing with a foot injury, which he had a procedure on during this offseason. So he just looks a step faster and more comfortable with his routes.
Mm-hmm.
But also because he was dealing with that long-term, he had that wrist injury that he was dealing with a little bit last year as well, that he wasn't confident making catches. So he was trying to trap the ball with his body. But now he's actually using his hands to make the catch as opposed to doing just kind of trap the ball against him. But, this is a tough one. Again, I'm trying to, do I go 4 here? Because I know there's some really good players that are like age 25 or younger. We're talking, there's still J.C. Horn, there's Bryce Young. You might throw out a Tedero McMillan or Nick Scorton, Princely Umamiela, Nikki Ikwande. Like, there's a lot of good players.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go 4 Xavier Legette on the blind ranking to start things off. I was so hesitant to do 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go 4.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, next up, Tommy Tremble.
Oh, Tommy!
And he just turned 25. So that was June 2nd. He's only been 25 for, a couple months almost.
Yeah, not even. I really do like Tommy Tremble. I think he's a good number 2 tight end, someone that can do a little bit of everything. I had to go 5 on this one. I got to go 5 for Tommy Tremble just because of this, the injuries, especially when he dealt with injuries last year, then had the back surgery this offseason. He's not back at training camp. He probably won't be until maybe the end of the preseason, maybe. There's no guarantee he's even available for week 1. So I'm going to put him at number 5. So 4 and 5 are already off the board. So the only thing we have left are 1, 2, and 3. I've had the pleasure and luxury of talking to Tommy Tremble one-on-one a few times. I think he's a legit good dude. He really is. And I think he is a good football player. He's very young. Because like you said, he just turned 25, and he's going into his 5th year of his career. I think he's a good player to keep on your roster in terms of number 2, 3 tight end. I really do like him a lot. But in terms of this blind ranking, I can't put him ahead of Xavier Legette, so I got to put him at number 5. All right, so Xavier Legette, number 4. Tommy Tremble, number 5. Again, this is a blind ranking. Victoria, who's next?
All right, up next, J.C. Horn.
Oh, J.C. Okay, this is he's either 1 or 2 for me. Because he is legitimately one of the best corners talent-wise in the entire NFL. The question is, can he stay healthy? Last year, he played the first 15 games, and late in the year, they were obviously out of playoff contention, was dealing with a leg injury. I think it was a quad, but sat out the last couple of games last year. But he is a Pro Bowl level player. I like JC a lot. I think he's obviously a tremendous player, but I love the mentality and everything that he brings to this team. And he's been through thick and thin. Remember, he was drafted by Matt Rule, and Scott Fitterer, that regime, had to go through the Frank Reich era of all 11 games of that. And then now, obviously, he's in his 2nd year with Dave Canales and 2nd year with Ejiro Evero as the defensive coordinator. One thing I will say about J.C. Horn, this is something I hope that Ejiro Evero does. So, J.C. Horn was placed in what's known as the boundary. in football. So when the ball is placed on the field before a snap, there's those hash marks in the middle of the field. The sideline closest to the hash mark where the ball is placed, that smaller side of the field, that's known as the boundary. That's where J.C. Horn was pretty much playing all last year, was in the boundary. I mean, part of that is because he's so good in run support as well, but he was mostly playing in the boundary. I want J.C. Horn to travel with whatever side of the field the number one receiver is on. That's where I want to see J.C. Horn play. That's what I want to see him do. Now, where do I rank him in the blind ranking? I'll put him 1. I'll put J.C. Horn number 1.
Okay.
I'll put J.C. Horn number 1. So blind ranking, you gave me Xavier Legette first. I put him at number 4. Then there was Tommy Tremble. I put him at number 5. J.C. Horn, I'm going to put at number 1. Again, these are all players age 25 or younger on the Panthers roster. So that leaves 2 and 3 available. Victoria, what's the next name we have here?
All right. Bryce Young.
I'll go 2.
Okay.
I'll go 2. And I'm comfortable putting him at 2 underneath of J.C. Horn for this reason. We haven't seen a full year from Bryce Young. Now, we've seen him start, obviously, a lot of games. But in terms of a full year run of him playing at a consistent high level, we have not seen it yet. We'll look at the last 7 games of the year last year, really starting with the Kansas City game all the way through the end of the season. And say, well, people will say, look how great he played in those games. And he was phenomenal. And if you go even the 3 starts before that, starting with the game against the Denver Broncos on the road, so those last 10 starts, which we talked about at the beginning of the show. If you look at those 10 starts, you can sit there and say, well, he played at this level. He's definitely shown that he can be a franchise guy. It's like, well, you can't forget the first couple of starts and the guy that got benched. You can't discount those. You can't just look at the last 7 games last year, starting with that Kansas City game, and go, he's arrived. That could have been just a good stretch. Now, that good stretch was obviously the polar opposite of the first half of the season for Bryce Young. Because, again, let's not forget, he got benched after 2 games last year. We can't forget that. I was at the game, I don't know, Victoria, I can't remember if you were at the game last year, week 2 against the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't complete a pass that went further than 10 yards downfield. He wouldn't even throw the ball further than 10 yards downfield in that game.
No.
And that's just not me just speaking hyperbole out there. That's just facts. I mean, they got all the charts and stuff to show where all the passes were attempted and completed and how far guys were downfield. Nothing went past 10 yards. That was just less than 12 months ago. Mm-hmm. So you can't discount that either and only look at how the year ended last year. I brought up the stat of the last 10 games of the year for Bryce Young. He had 20 total touchdowns in those last 10 games. 15 passing, 5 rushing. But 5 of those touchdowns came in the final game of the season against Atlanta. So literally 25% of them came in one game.
Yeah.
One game. All things you have to take into consideration when it comes to Bryce Young. But that all being said, there is still a trajectory that we all anticipate and hope that he can be. So I'm comfortable putting Bryce Young number 2 on this list, which leaves on the blind ranking
yeah.
number 3 available.
There's only one left.
Which goes to?
And that is Mr. Ike Ekwonu.
I'm okay putting it 3 right
terrible,
here.
Yeah.
You know what? On a blind ranking on this.
Not bad.
So again, this is a blind ranking. Victoria gave me the names randomly. I didn't know who they were going to be, and I had to rank them 1 through 5 blindly. You gave me Xavier Legette first. I put him 4. You gave me Tommy Tremble next. I put him at 5. You gave me J.C. Horn. I put him at 1. Then Bryce Young, I put him at 2. And then Ike Ekwonu, I put 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty darn good list.
It's not bad.
That's a pretty darn good blind ranking. Yeah. It's a pretty darn good blind ranking. And actually, speaking of, again, bringing up players age 25 or younger, the reason why we're bringing this up is because if you obviously have a great wealth of talent that are age 25 or younger, not only does that bode well for your team currently, but also it bodes well for your team moving forward in future years. Because you're still anticipating growth and development up until, age 25, 26. And then you really hit those prime years, 25, 26 through 28, 29, up to about 30. Depending on your position, maybe even 31, 32. So that's what you're anticipating as a franchise. Generally looking at the long-term health of your team is evaluating your players that are age 25 or younger.
Yeah.
So if we actually look at last year's draft class, I saw actually this was floating around on social media a couple of days ago, and I thought it was pretty interesting, and I figured I'd bring this up. If you look at last year, the 2024 draft class for Dan Morgan and the Carolina Panthers, they had one pick in every single round. It was Xavier Legette in the first round, the wide receiver from South Carolina. Jonathan Brooks, the running back from Texas, in the second round. Trevin Wallace, the linebacker, in the third round out of Kentucky. J.T. Sanders, the tight end from Texas as well, in the fourth round. Shaw Smith-Wade from Washington State, the defensive back. Jaden Crumedy in the sixth round out of Mississippi State is a defensive lineman. And then they drafted Mike Barrett, a linebacker out of Michigan, in the seventh round. And you look at where those guys currently stand on the roster. Now, Xavier Legette is going to be one of your starting wide receivers. And I say starting because, let's be honest, teams start 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end. Is that if you're a top 3 receiver, you're a starter in the NFL. He's going to be a starting wide receiver for the team this year. Now, obviously, last year left a lot to be desired for Xavier Legette, for sure. But you have to be excited about his physical skill set and his potential upside. But again, you have a guy that currently right now is a starting wide receiver for you that you drafted in the first round last year, which is what you would expect out of a first-round pick wide receiver. Now, Jonathan Brooks, it's just the injury bug, unfortunately, has cursed that young man so far in his career. It's a lost season this year. It was a lost season last year. So, unfortunately, basically 2 seasons lost out of your second-round pick from last year. Trevin Wallace started 8 games last year after Shaq Thompson got hurt. Now, he himself had to deal with a shoulder injury where he missed time last year. But you're looking at a guy in the third round that is going to be starting as an inside linebacker for you. And again, got a bunch of really good reps last year and started quite a bit because, again, the injury that Shaq Thompson suffered last year. But a guy that you drafted that eventually became a starter. Jatavian Sanders right now is going to be your starting tight end this upcoming season. And there's a lot of, again, I use the word potential. We saw flashes of Jatavian Sanders last season. Big-time flashes. Remember the game against the Kansas City Chiefs last year where he was making a couple big plays, but then was trying to make a play down the sideline while he was carrying the ball after making a catch, got his legs cut out from underneath him, somersaulted forward, and landed head first on the ground, and they had to take him off the field with a neck injury. Now, he eventually did come back and play a couple weeks later, but never really had that same impact from what we saw early on in the year. But we saw the flashes of playmaking ability, and he himself even said, Victoria, a couple days ago, that last year he played at about 255 pounds. He's down to 238. So he shedded quite a bit of weight. And from seeing him with my own eyes at minicamp and at training camp, yeah, he looks quicker and he looks faster and he definitely looks trimmed down for sure. But again, you have a 4th-round pick last year that is going to be your number 1 tight end to start this season. Shaw Smith-Wade, the defensive back from Washington State, ended up taking over as the starting nickel corner last year as a slot corner and is going to be that guy this season. And in college, he played mostly on the outside at Washington State, but now coming over here with the Carolina Panthers in the NFL because of he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's 5'10", not the biggest frame, but he's super quick. And he's had a great training camp and a great summer, and there's been a lot of rave reviews about Shaw Smith-Wade's development from last year to this year. The guy, I mean, let's be honest, if we're going to call a 3 wide receiver set a starting offensive group, then my third defensive back, my slot corner, that's a starter in my eyes. Let's be honest, because you're playing in sub packages, 70% of the time in the NFL? I mean, that guy's going to play, if you're playing 65 defensive snaps in a game, he's going to be out on the field for 50 of them. I mean, that's basically a starter. So your number 1 slot corner, Shaw Smith-Wade, is a 5th-round pick from last year. And then you have Jaden Crumedy, who had a leg injury that he suffered in the first preseason game against the New England Patriots last year. missed a big chunk of time last year, came in and played a few snaps late in the season, but really not impactful much, but still on the roster and was brought in as a player that can be a developmental defensive lineman. And again, someone I expect to be on the roster this season. And then last year's 7th-round pick, Michael Barrett, an undersized linebacker from Michigan, they traded to the Seattle Seahawks for Mike Jackson, who's now is your starting corner. Like, that was a great find. Talk about using value. A guy that you weren't going to keep on your roster, you turned into a starting corner. Can't complain about that. But Victoria, as we look through last year's draft class, Legette, starter. Jonathan Brooks, unfortunately, didn't get anything out of him. Trevor Wallace is going to be a starter. Jatavian Sanders is going to be a starter. Shaw Smith-Wade is essentially going to be a starter as your slot corner. That's 4 guys going into year 2, just in their second year, that have developed already into being that. Now, the question still remains, how effective can they be in these roles? Just because you are a starter doesn't mean you are a starting caliber player, if that makes sense. Sometimes you're just the starter because you're just the best option.
That's what we have.
Yeah, what has been the case. But the way this team has, over the last couple of years, has really revamped their roster, you have to be excited about what these young guys can do. And then we also have to look at this rookie class currently with Teteroa McMillan, Nick Scorton, Princely Umamielen, and others, about what they potentially can bring to the team this season and their growth in their future. I'm still on this Panthers team as a 7-9 win team this season. I will continue to state that. Now, obviously, that can change if there's, again, a massive injury or something that happens.
Right.
Then, again, the formula changes. But looking at how young and just how young or how much you're relying upon these young players.
It's a realistic expectation. That's not too far of a reach. Looking at their schedule this season anyway.
Yeah.
That I could see that's doable.
I think 7-9 wins is doable. Yeah. Again, because these are young players still developing. Again, you go on the offensive side of the ball. Legette, second-year player. Jatavian Sanders, second-year player. Teteroa McMillan, rookie. Mitchell Evans, a tight end, fifth-round draft pick out of Notre Dame, is a rookie. Ike Ekwonu, still on a rookie contract. Bryce Young is just in his 3rd year. It's a really young Jalen Coker. How am I forgetting Jalen Coker? Jalen Coker, the undrafted free agent from last year, shined. He's just in his 2nd year. 3 of your top 4 wide receivers are 1st and 2nd-year players. Then, again, that's not even factoring in the 2 tight ends I just mentioned with Sanders and Evans. So, in terms of your pass catchers, 5 of your top 6 pass catchers are 1st and 2nd-year players? With Legette, Coker, McMillan, Sanders, and Mitchell Evans? And then obviously the old guy being Adam Thielen. Like, that's how young this team is. It's super young at the skilled players. So that's why I say this year, 7-9 wins, because you're still going to have growing pains with these guys. That's why I think 2026 is the year you got to say, all right, now make it happen. Now you're putting it all together. And then defensively, Scorton, super young. Nick Scorton doesn't turn 21 until next month. I think it's like after their last preseason game that he actually turns 21. Nick Scorton.
Crazy. That's like hockey young.
Yeah. That is.
You see guys in hockey that young, not usually in football.
He's younger than Jackson Blake.
I know. That's crazy.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in with Adam Gold this afternoon. Coming up in about 45 minutes, Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer will join us, who covers the Carolina Panthers. But until then, Victoria, we got to make sure that we stay healthy during training camp. We got to stretch, and we got to play some bets next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Open the lid on a carton of Bluebell Homemade in the Shade, and you'll have it made, so to speak. It's a combination of our top-selling homemade vanilla ice cream with a swirl of rich chocolate fudge sauce. Enjoy an instant classic.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Voted best zoo in the nation, North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens is centrally located in the heart of North Carolina. Bring your family to Asheboro for an affordable day trip or weekend excursion to connect with nature and make cherished memories. Discover towering giraffes, pouncing sandcats, and diving seabirds at the world's largest natural habitat zoo. Roam with rhinos on Zoofari or flutter by the exotic butterfly garden during your next visit. Explore more possibilities at nczoo.org.
I had questions about my child's vaccines, so I got real answers from her doctor because we share the same goal, keeping her healthy and strong. Her doctor told me that keeping up with childhood vaccines, getting them at the recommended ages and sometimes together, is a proven way to protect her from serious illnesses, ones that can be prevented with vaccines. Have questions? Get real answers. Talk to your doctor. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
As the health director in Haywood County and a nurse here in North Carolina, I can tell you that the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline saves lives.
No matter your struggle, you are not alone. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is free, private, and always available.
988 Lifeline counselors are ready 24/7 to speak with you, help you cope, and get you connected to the support that is right for you.
988, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
Coming up in less than 45 minutes, Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer is going to join us talking Carolina Panthers from training camp going on. Some of the veterans got a rest day today, Victoria, and you know what? That inspires us at every single time or every single day, 1:45, for us to hit the seventh inning stretch. What you got today, V?
Okay. Well, today I always try to be positive and bring the happiness and the random things. But yesterday, and I know we're not in Chicago, so bear with me, but I'm a huge Chicago Cubs fan. And it's difficult because Ryan Sandberg is an icon. He always will be, but he passed away yesterday from cancer at the age of 65. And it's one of those situations where we all like sports, and we've got our favorite legend, I guess you could say. So it's difficult when you see people like that pass away. Also, he was a great human being. So he still supported the Cubs even afterward. He showed up on the field while he was there, and then when he was off, he was still on the sidelines. Mike Greenberg actually talked about this, so I'm going to take a minute so you can hear exactly what Ryne Sandberg meant to the Cubs in that area.
We had some sad news yesterday from the world of baseball and beyond. If you were in Chicago in the 1980s, you already know what I'm about to tell you, and that is that Ryne Sandberg was among the most beloved athletes in the history of that city. He was a young second baseman who led the 1984 Cubs to the playoffs. It was the first time they had been to the postseason since 1945. He was the MVP of the league that year. The fans wrote songs for him. They adopted that kid from the Pacific Northwest as one of their own. Ryne Sandberg died yesterday after a battle with cancer. He was just 65 years old. What a terrific player he was. An all-star, 10 seasons for the Cubs, second most in Cubs history. He won 9 Gold Gloves consecutively. That's the second most by any second baseman in the history of the sport. He hit 30 home runs in 1989 and in 1990, the first second baseman ever with consecutive 30 home run seasons. He took his rightful place in the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2005. Our deepest condolences are with his wife, Margaret, his kids, and everybody who loved him. Ryne Sandberg, gone at the age of 65.
So, it's a sad day, but it's a great day because we can also remember him. He's got his own game day, by the way, in Chicago. So he's got a Ryne Sandberg Day, Rhino Day, which is, September 20th is when they made it in 1997. But he's got his legendary Sandberg game, which was June 23rd, where it was against the Cardinals. Of course, it was perfect, hitting 2 home runs and driving in seven runs that game. So they refer to that as the Sandberg game, which the Cubs, they're going to keep highlighting his life for sure for a while now. But, it's a good day to remember him. He was battling cancer, and people thought that he was going to turn things around, but, cancer is one of those things. So, pouring one out for Rhino today for sure. He's definitely a legend. Now, one thing that is making waves, more on a positive note, and I know that you like comic book things like I do. So, popcorn buckets are trying to, be a thing these days.
Yeah, they've gotten a little weird at times.
Yes.
Go on. Did you see Dune?
Yeah, exactly. That could probably be at Belichick's girlfriend's mom store.
Uh-huh.
It's one of those kind of things. But this is not the case at all. Fantastic Four, First Steps.
Saw it.
Have you seen the popcorn bucket?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so this one is actually making the Guinness Book of World Records right now
because
this one is shaped like the movie villain's head, and it is huge. So it is 20 inches wide, 17.5 inches high, and holds 341 ounces, making it the world's largest commercially available popcorn bucket.
So it's shaped to look like Galactus.
Yes!
That's awesome.
His head. And to
That's
make
cool.
it even
I need
better, his eyeballs light up.
What?
So the only thing is,
I need this now.
You're going to have to drop about $80 though.
Worth it.
Totally doing it. Put it on your Christmas list. So yeah, this thing, I will say, it is pretty cool, but you can order it if you would like to at AMC Theater Shop. It won't ship until early December, so you'll have to wait a minute for that one. But,
Perfect in time for Christmas. Let's go.
I know. I'm telling you, it's a great Christmas gift. Or maybe you could make a little extra cash winning some bets.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
Yeah, you know what? You can win the money to go buy the Galactus
I
popcorn
know.
bucket.
Exactly. $80. Woo.
Worth
but
it.
I mean, his eyeballs light up. I mean,
course.
come on.
Come on.
Come Come on, just eat popcorn with eyeballs just beaming out. It's hilarious.
My eyes light up when I see buckets of popcorn.
Me too. Exactly. So more butter, the better.
Let's go.
So yesterday, didn't do too great with some of my bets, but my Rays did win. That bet came through. So Cubbies, like I said, let's win this one for Rhino today. They lost yesterday with the Brewers in Milwaukee, so they're underdogs today, plus 110. Give me my Cubbies.
You know, yesterday one of my bets was the Colorado Rockies to beat the Cleveland Guardians. That was a plus 227.
Mm-hmm.
Nailed that one.
Nice.
So you know what? I'm going to go the underdogs here once again, but a different underdog.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Miami Marlins on the road at the St. Louis Cardinals, plus 138 money line.
I'll take
it
that.
happen.
Let the Cardinals lose today. That's cool.
I know you would appreciate that.
So next up, I'm going to do the Dodgers and the Reds today. Dodgers are in Cincinnati, but I'm going to say that they're going to win on the road. We'll go over 9. That's plus 165.
Well, you know what I'm going to do here, speaking of the Dodgers, I'm along the same lines as you. Give me Shohei Ohtani. Anytime home run is a plus 185.
Right? Why not?
I mean, he didn't homer yesterday, but still, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, my last one. I know we've got a lot of Braves fans who like to listen, so this one's for you. This is my underdog pick. Well, aside from my Cubs, this is my non-emotional underdog pick. Give me the Braves to beat the Royals today. They're plus 110.
All right, my final one here. Give me the Pirates at the Giants.
Yeah.
Give me the Pirates with the upset.
Ooh.
Plus 140 on the money line.
It's a big upset.
Plus
hey,
140. Like Justin Verlander pitching for the Giants. There you go. That's place your bets. By the way, I actually saw Justin Verlander pitch for the Giants a couple weeks ago when I was in California. It was a good time. It's the Adam Gold Show. Coming up, the Wall of Sound. Fresh sound bites from Panthers training camp. Next, Wall of Sound coming up on the Adam Gold Show.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Here's how you know the Bill Belichick hype is through the roof. At ACC Media Kickoff, Dabo Swinney, one of the most popular, famous coaches in the country, was walking around giving interviews, and almost no one was following him. That's because every media member was up at Bill Belichick's press conference hoping for just a few seconds of audio from the UNC coach.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Heineken Silver, world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. Why world-class? Because it has a crisp and superior taste. That's world-class. It has only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. That's very world-class. So, if I'm seen drinking it by association, am I world-class? Oh yeah, Heineken Silver, world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
You gotta dip your chicken strips. Hey, this is Kiani.
And this is Tabitha.
And a little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips
is all the different sauces we can dip them in. I like to line up all my favorite sauces so that in every bite, I have a different flavor. Then with the tenderness of the chicken, the juiciness of it, it's all there.
And for me, I like to mix my sauces so I get a little tang and I get a little sweetness all in one bite.
That's what makes it for me. Like, that's what does it for me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
The aftermath of Hurricane Helene
hurricane left many in western North Carolina feeling lost, their homes damaged or destroyed, and their lives upended. But there's good news. The new Division of Community Revitalization is here to help with the Renew NC Single Family Housing Program. The Renew NC Single Family Housing Program offers home rehabilitation, reconstruction, and mobile home replacement options for eligible families with homes damaged by Hurricane Helene. If your home was damaged, you may qualify for recovery assistance. Don't wait. Call 888-791-0207 or visit renewnc.org to apply now. That's 888-791-0207. Renew NC. Rebuilding homes, restoring hope.
Sponsored by Patriot Relief Inc. and NC Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with the station.
Kids across America are going to school hungry every day. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
Lowe's knows big savings make a big difference, especially when you're shopping for appliances. Hurry in to get up to 30% off select major appliances. Plus, My Lowe's Rewards members get free delivery, free haul away, free installation and parts on purchases of $2,500 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Price, delivery time, and vehicle availability may vary based on order size and location. Exclusions apply. See Lowes.com/delivery for more details.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
It's only going to work out one of two ways for Shedeur Sanders. Either he's going to assert himself as a starting quarterback over the next couple of years, or he's going to be out the league in 5 years. And when he walks in the room, he takes all the oxygen out of it. Now, he's a great teammate. He's been a very coachable player. So this is not a knock and this is not a negative. This is not a character assassination of him. This is not an indictment on him. But he takes attention. He is a star among stars. It's hard to justify keeping that guy in the building as a backup quarterback.
The NFL's fun, not gonna lie.
Yes.
The NFL's a lot of fun.
I'm ready for it.
Speaking of, highly talked about backup quarterbacks, the Cleveland Browns are going to be doing a joint practice with the Carolina Panthers next week and have it before Friday's preseason game.
Yeah.
Friday of next week, that is. Wednesday is going to be their joint practice. That highly discussed backup quarterback being the one and only Shedeur Sanders.
Wow.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders, who wasn't even the first quarterback drafted by that Browns team. Dylan Gabriel was drafted in the 3rd round out of Oregon at quarterback. And it's like, he's still there in the 5th. Yeah, I guess we'll take him.
Sure.
But that team's just loaded with backup quarterbacks.
Half their team is quarterbacks.
I know. And of course Kenny Pickett, who was a former 1st-round pick, is hurt. It's funny, like Kenny Pickett, just watching him in Pittsburgh, it's like, here's an ankle, here's the knee, then there's a shoulder, like he's got a concussion, and then it's the same thing. Now he's got a hamstring again. It's always nicked up with something.
Mm-hmm.
Always nicked up with something. But training camps are taking place. We have fresh sound from today. Shout out to our good friend Max Gorin for pulling this audio for us today from training camp. So let's go ahead and get into the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
We talked a lot about with young players regarding players under the age of 25 for the Carolina Panthers. And a couple of those guys that we didn't mention, or we briefly mentioned, were the 2nd and 3rd round picks. Nick Scorton, the outside linebacker from Texas A&M, then Princely Umamielen, also the edge rusher / outside linebacker from Florida, who was drafted in the 3rd round. Well, A'Shawn Robinson, who was one of the big free agent signings last year as a defensive lineman for the Carolina Panthers, discuss what has impressed him most about those two young rookies.
The development to learning and comprehending those things, going out there
seeing we get in the meeting rooms, taking it out from meeting rooms, going to practice and applying it. And not only just applying it, but doing it the right way and holding yourself to that standard and dominating. Those things matter because you can't mentally be like, oh yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do, and not go out there and achieve those things and not work at those things. Even if you fail, knowing what you can learn from those things to be better. So I feel that they've done those things and will continue to do those things.
One of the things that stood out to me about Nick Scorton this offseason was even though he didn't have a contract up until just before training camp started, he was still able to participate in offseason workouts, OTAs, minicamp, obviously rookie camp, and he participated in all those things. And actually, he said that he stayed in Charlotte this offseason, and he was doing everything they needed to do. So even though he wasn't under contract until the rookies reported, a couple days before training camp started, which was Monday of last week, he was still here this offseason doing everything that he needed to do. And we've seen flashes from Princely Umamielen early in training camp. Now, one thing, they're even though they play the same position, they play it in two different ways. Princely Umamielen at Florida talked about how he just used his speed because it's really the only thing he needed to do. He even said, to paraphrase here, he didn't need to use his full array of pass rushing moves because his speed was good enough to work for him. So now the question is, now that you're playing in the NFL, is only speed going to work for you? Now you really have to continue to develop your pass rushing abilities on top of just being, hey, I can just beat you with speed along the edge. Now, if you continue to beat guys off the edge with speed, fine. No problem with that. But I think Princely Umamielen is more of that true pass rusher, whereas I think Nick Scorton might be, as of right now, a little bit more of a well-rounded player, someone that can play against the run a little bit better. If you need to drop him into coverage as an outside linebacker, might be able to do that as well. He's dropped his weight down from what he was in college. So, again, they just play it in two different ways or at two different strengths, I guess you could say. From what I saw so far, Nick Scorton hasn't quite flashed yet. But again, he's only 20 years old. Doesn't turn 21 until next month. So he's still a super young player with a ton of upside. So again, that's A'Shawn Robinson talking about those two young players. Another young player, Trevor Wallace, the second-year player out of Kentucky, the linebacker, talked about the players that were brought in this offseason. For example, a guy like Tershawn Wharton, brought in over from the Kansas City Chiefs, and these guys that come from winning culture. Here's Trevor Wallace discussing what those players coming over from winning team has added to the roster.
A lot because, they bring in, things from different cultures, coming here, setting standards, because we always want to set a standard. You always want to be great. So, they come in here setting a standard, and we just uphold to that standard.
It can't be overstated when you bring in a guy like Tershawn Wharton, in my eyes, about how not only does he have the ability of a player that fits into your system. I had a chance to talk with Tershawn Wharton at training camp last week, and I asked him about the off the field stuff in terms of building that culture and building trust with teammates and such. And he discussed pretty openly about how it's vital for teams that grow strong together. Again, he's coming from Kansas City, which knows about winning, about how players can hold each other accountable on and off the field in terms of pointing out, hey, you shouldn't do that or you need to do this, but also be open to having someone tell you, hey, you don't need to do that or you shouldn't do that. You need to do these things. But also being open with each other in terms of, hey, I'm just going through some crap at home and I just need to open up with somebody about it. You just need to be able to do that with a teammate and someone that you trust, because you can understand someone on a deeper level. You can know, hey, understand, hey, someone's kind of going through it right now. Let's lift this person up. Or just going out to dinner and spending time together and doing things off the field together that builds that camaraderie and that teamwork together. And bringing, like Trevor Wallace has mentioned, bringing aspects of those winning cultures to the Panther locker room. And someone that's back in the Panther locker room, I guess you could say, who didn't really play much at all last season, just one game, is Derek Brown. Trevor Wallace, the young linebacker, spoke about how good it is to have Derek Brown back.
good, real good. You know, it's great to have, you know, a good D-line in front of us, you know, so just watching them play and all that, sometimes I'll be starstruck like, golly, boy, them boys balling. But then I had to get to the play like, oh, Trevor, you playing ball. So, you know, it's real good to have that.
Derek Brown being back is so massive.
I know.
It's so big.
I love how it's just uplifting the morale of the whole locker room, it seems. I love that. They need that. It's hard to have good morale when you have a stinky season.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, like, man, our best player's hurt, and we're getting our teeth kicked in.
Right.
This is not good.
Yay.
All right, guys, let's go. But Derek Brown coming back again, we're still waiting to see because we have to actually wait and see him play in actual games in order for him to be 100%. Or to see if he's 100%, I should say. But in my eyes, I think Derek Brown with Tershawn Wharton, A'Shawn Robinson, then you factor in Bobby Brown that they brought in as well. Like those four, along with Cam Jackson, the 5th-round pick out of Florida that they drafted, and whether it's another depth guy like a veteran Shai Tuttle and or Jaden Crumity, Ejiro Evero is going to be able to rotate these guys on the defensive line during the course of the game, and also depending on situation as well. Hey, it's 2nd and 6, and they're coming out with 2 tight ends. I can go with a package of guys up front that is going to be better apt to stop the run. Or as opposed to, it's 3rd and 11, I can put in guys that I know are better at getting to the quarterback. And I can rotate guys through and keep guys fresh not only during the course of the game, but that'll keep you fresh during the course of the season as well. We just saw last season, just out of necessity, A'Shawn Robinson just simply played too many snaps. Not that he isn't good or capable of playing a lot of snaps, but it just wore down. You just wear down a little bit over the course of the season if you're playing in the trenches as a defensive lineman like that. And A'Shawn Robinson was one of the few bright spots on that defense last year. But I think it's going to benefit him. I think I said it yesterday, where it's going to be less is more for not only him, but Bobby Brown, Tershawn Wharton. Again, all those guys can rotate, be fresh. For the snaps that they're out there, they can play at a higher level. And I think, again, it's only going to benefit the roster as a whole so much more. And it's going to benefit a guy like Trevin Wallace, too. Let's not discount that either, because Josie Jewell not on the team because of dealing with the concussion symptoms. So now you're down to Trevin Wallace, Christian Roseboom as your starting inside linebackers, and there's not a whole lot after that. Not a whole lot after that. Those guys being fresh up front is going to make life easier on those guys. So much easier. And if it also helps with the pass rush as well, it's only going to make things easier in the secondary where, guess what? Hey, guys, you don't have to cover for 4 seconds or 5 seconds. You got to cover for 3.5, which is a massive difference. Massive, massive difference. I like the revamped defensive line that we're seeing for the Panthers, at least on paper. How they play in games to be determined. All right, last one here coming from Trevin Wallace. Yesterday in practice, Chuba Hubbard, the running back, was catching a pass out of the backfield. From my understanding, was kind of had to leap up a little bit to make the catch out of the backfield and got blasted pretty hard by Trevin Wallace. Yeah. Chuba Hubbard took exception to it, came back, throwing blows a little bit. The guys had to be separated. Here's Trevin Wallace discussing, saying, well, no bad blood after the Chuba Hubbard incident yesterday.
At the end of the day, like I said, it's football, so, you know, emotions are going to be held. We got pads on. It's a man's game. Everybody got pride of us, so stuff going to happen. But at the end of the day, we came and shook it together. It was like, it's all love, bro. Like, it was between the lines, you know, people, like, if I got put on my behind, I'll be, you know, pissed off too. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's football, though. We understood, came to a level ground and, like, shook it out and talked about it.
Was the way it's supposed to be. Things are going to get heated during camp. You know, there's a lot of intensity, but Chuba Hubbard even said afterwards, yeah, it's football. I got heated in the moment. There's emotion. Dave Canales said, football play, guess what? It's done. It's over with.
Feels like an oven out here, so.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's hot. It sucks.
Just want water. What are we doing?
I know. But, I mean, by all accounts, it's really the only time something has really happened at camp so far, which is a good thing, you know? You always want to make sure, hey, guys, we want to play physical. We want to toe that line, but let's also take care of each other because we need each other this season. If it's someone else on another team, have at it. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. 7 wide receivers? Do 7 wide receivers make the team? I'll tell you why it's a possibility next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Here's how you know the Bill Belichick hype is through the roof. At ACC Media Kickoff, Dabo Swinney, one of the most popular, famous coaches in the country, was walking around giving interviews, and almost no one was following him. That's because every media member was up at Bill Belichick's press conference hoping for just a few seconds of audio from the UNC coach.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do you get? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, but sometimes it's go time. No time to stop, but the perfect time for a Bojangles Bird Dog. A seasoned to perfection Bojangles Chicken Supremes, dill pickles, and Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, all tucked inside a toasted bun. Great on the go. Try 2 bird dogs for just $5 or 2 bird dog combo for just $8.25. Available for limited time only. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get it Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
New to the area? Let me be the first to welcome you. I'm Marcy Bailey of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We've been family owned and part of North Carolina since 1948. We have a tradition of being voted the best jewelry store with an unparalleled selection of designer jewelry, fine diamonds, engagement rings, watches, and gifts to commemorate all your special occasions. We look forward to sharing our award-winning service and stunning jewels with you. Visit us today in store or at baileybox.com to see why every woman wants a Bailey box.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and that cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Rock out with your favorite bands at Lost 80s Live at Cocoa Booth Amphitheater, August 3rd. Grab your tickets at etix.com today.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
HIV is not a crime, or it shouldn't be.
It's time for the laws to catch up to science.
Join the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation to modernize outdated HIV criminalization laws. Go to etaf.org. Campaign funded through the support of Gilead Sciences Incorporated.
This is Adam Gold.
Steve Bettman take all that time to walk out, then to see the pick, bro hug no less than 20 guys on his way up there. And then this draft house, they just moved this wall like the Price is Right. I don't know.
It's a showcase showdown back there.
I know.
That would be great. So we should spin a wheel,
yeah,
right? Exactly.
The Adam Gold Show.
Do you think Dave Canales is going to have to use a Plinko board to decide which wide receiver that he's possibly has to cut?
He might need
Dan
that.
Morgan, just drop the Plinko board.
Yep, he might need it.
Maybe.
Or that
Just
punch
different
board.
names all lined up. Just
You remember the punch board where you
Oh,
would
yeah.
like try to? Those are always fun. I'd be like, no,
punch
go for
board.
the corner.
this little yodeler just going up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Everyone knows.
the Panthers are familiar with cliffs, so.
Oh, yeah, I know. Unfortunately. So I was looking at the Panthers roster. By the way, the Adam Gold Show, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. I'm going to try not to use too many stats here in this segment, Victoria, because apparently using stats is a frowned upon thing, according to some. But looking at this Panthers roster, and I'm curious to think what other people believe. I did this actually before training camp. Myself and Chris Lee from WREL TV in Raleigh. He and I host a podcast called Panthers Playbook. And before training camp started, we did a kind of a rough run through of who we felt were essentially we felt were locks to make the roster. And I went and scratched back through it again today based off of what I've seen with my own eyes at training camp and just what I'm hearing from others. And by the way, coming up here in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk to Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer. I'm definitely going to ask him about this. Is that when I went through the roster, I felt there were about, again, you factor in 3 specialists. There's, long snapper, punter, kicker. I have about 23 guys that I feel like are solid locks on the offensive side of the ball and about 23 guys that I feel are solid locks on the defensive side of the ball. Again, like if you want to tell me that there might be one or the other, I could be talked into that. But essentially, I felt like there's 48 to 49 guys that I feel like are solid. Now, a couple positions that I left open were, for example, at cornerback in the secondary. J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, Saul Smith-Wade, Shamar Bartholomew, right now I feel are locks. Now, a player that I definitely want to ask Mike Kaye about is Corey Thornton, an undrafted rookie out of Louisville who's a corner as well, who's apparently has made some plays during training camp as well. But I put a +1 there along with the 4 corners I just mentioned. I put a +1 there because that could be from outside the organization or one of these undrafted guys. But I put a +1 there. And then at wide receiver, I had 6 guys locked in. But again, I only have 48, 49 guys written down, which leaves about 5 spots open. You could easily put a 7th wide receiver as part of the mix. Especially, I feel like the guys that are truly our locks are obviously Xavier Legette, Tedero McMillan, Adam Thielen, Jalen Coker. Those 4 are your top 4. Again, barring any injuries that take place. But from what I've seen, what I saw in minicamp, what we've seen in training camp, everything we're hearing, it feels like Hunter Renfrow is basically forcing his way onto this roster. Now, Hunter Renfrow was a scratcher ticket this offseason when they signed him to a 1-year deal. 1-year deal, about $1 million, very little guaranteed. Because he missed all of last season recovering from ulcerative colitis, or I guess dealing with ulcerative colitis, and really his last couple years in the NFL in 2022, 2023, because of ulcerative colitis, really struggled. So you just didn't know what you were going to get. But again, it's a someone handed you a scratcher ticket. Didn't really cost you anything, but you might strike and win. If anything, or at worst, you break even, possibly, right? So again, it doesn't really cost you anything in that regard. And I feel like because he's on a rookie deal and he's a 6th-round draft pick and just the element of speed that he brings, I felt Jimmy Horn Jr. feel like he's going to be a lock on the roster. That makes David Moore the 7th guy. But again, there's room to add a 7th guy. For example, running backs, Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, Travis Etienne. Those guys are going to make the roster. Now, there's the Raheem Blackshear, who's known for being a special teamer, being part of the return game. But if I'm keeping Jimmy Horn Jr., who can return kicks, Hunter Renfrow, who can return punts as well, David Moore also can help in the return game and also play other stuff in special teams, well, that makes Raheem Blackshear potentially expendable. Or you could potentially keep both Raheem Blackshear and a 7th wide receiver. Maybe you have to keep an extra tight end depending on what Tommy Tremble is feeling with his back. Again, all things you have to take into consideration as well. But it's 100% feasible that 7 wide receivers make this roster. Now, speaking of Jimmy Horn Jr., the rookie 6th-round receiver out of Colorado that I just mentioned, Dave Canales, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, earlier today after training camp, said why he has confidence in Jimmy Horn Jr.
Yeah, just constant energy, courage. It's his play style. It showed up on film last year. He's a tough guy, and he's battling in the run game to block, to stay connected throughout the whole play, which was kind of a challenge for me to those guys. Is like, this matters. This is who we're going to be. We're a running team first and foremost, and so we need all of you to, to be involved in that. That's your contribution to what we're doing, and he takes that seriously. He studies. He's here early. He's here late. He's working on stuff that he missed. He's asking questions. He's very curious by nature. So all of the things that to me point towards being a pro.
So Jimmy Horn Jr. is part of a pretty intense competition at wide receiver, which, by the way, Dave Canales, Dan Morgan said they want to have competition at every position. This is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. You have 7 capable guys. Maybe you can only keep 6. Some teams only keep 5. Now, potentially you could have a trade piece eventually come from this where, hey, a team needs to add a wide receiver, but they have a plethora of tight ends. Then you could do a 1-for-1 swap potentially. All these things are possible. But Dave Canales talked about how much he loves the competition and the variation in the wide receiver room.
Absolutely. It's great. And especially, I love having a basketball team out there. It's kind of like my receiver coaching background. I like having different body types. You got T-Mac, who's 6'4". You got Bryce and Tremaine, who's 6'5". You got Jimmy Horn, who's your 5'9", speedster type of guy. You got a bunch of 6-footers who are just rocked up and ready to help in the run game and do whatever. And Xavier and David Moore and Jalen Coker and Hunter Renfro kind of fits that, that classic traditional slot mold. So there's just a lot of variety and guys who can help in multiple ways. So that's my hope. My high hope and dream is that in every position room that we can create that level of competition as we continue to build this team now and in the future. We love it when it's like you can envision, who's going to make this roster, and when there's more guys than you have spots for. That's really the type of competition that elevates the room. It elevates the performance on the field, the practices. It challenges the defense, and vice versa.
Couple things that he hit on there. First, about the variation of skill sets. Yes, you do have the long body guy with Teterola McMillan who can just pluck the ball out of the air. And then just the physical size and speed of a guy like Xavier Legette. And then the speed, again, smaller Jimmy Horn Jr. Again, varying different skill sets, but complementary ones as well. They're not all the same. They're not just, hey, we're a bunch of tall guys that only catch 50-50 balls. Yeah. No, we have guys that can do a little bit of everything, and that's only going to add to your offense and just only going to make things better for Dave Canales and Bryce Young as the quarterback.
I like that mindset.
I love it too.
It makes it trickier for other people to, figure out where we're going to go. So I like it. I like that mindset.
I think they can keep 7. I think it could potentially work out. Again, depends on how injuries and other things on the roster, what's needed. Injuries might necessitate keeping an extra defensive lineman or linebacker, which would then take away from another spot. But if I had to pick, unfortunately, one guy that's an odd man out, which a guy I think that you can easily bring back to your practice squad, is David Moore. I think David Moore might be the guy that, if you do release him, might not get signed by another team right away, and you can bring him right back to your practice squad for sure. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Let's talk wide receivers. Let's talk more about camp. Who's making the roster? Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer coming up next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Open the lid on a carton of Bluebell Homemade in the Shade, and you'll have it made, so to speak. It's a combination of our top-selling homemade vanilla ice cream with a swirl of rich chocolate fudge sauce. Enjoy an instant classic.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Experience a day of discovery at the world's largest natural habitat zoo located in Asheboro. North Carolina Zoo and Botanical Gardens offers miles of shaded pathways, engaging activities and nature trails, and award-winning educational programming for all ages. Encounter wild animals, flourishing plants, and extraordinary beauty as you explore the ancient Uwharrie Mountains in the heart of North Carolina. Every visit helps save wildlife and wild places. Plan an unforgettable journey at nczoo.org.
Your child's doctor shares your goals, a healthy future for your child. Doctors recommend vaccines throughout childhood because they protect what matters most, your child's future from preventable disease and serious illness. Discuss any questions you have and check that your child is up to date and talk about any concerns. You're right to have questions. Get real answers. Start a conversation with your doctor today. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
Ask any college student. If it wasn't for the last minute, lots of assignments wouldn't get done. So if you haven't figured out your plan for college and how to pay for it yet, don't worry, you've still got time. And with the next NC scholarship, you can still get money to pay for most or all of your tuition. To apply, just fill out your FAFSA and you could get $3,000 for community college or $5,000 for public university, and possibly more. See how easy it is to apply at nextncscholarship.org.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Did you know? Atlantic hurricane season runs through November. From gathering necessary supplies to planning an evacuation route, now is the time to make sure you and your family are prepared. And if a storm damages our electric system, local public power providers are ready to respond and restore power quickly and safely. As a public power customer, you benefit from having an electricity provider that restores power faster than other providers do. Visit electricities.com for storm preparation tips and resources.
As the health director in Haywood County and a nurse here in North Carolina, I can tell you that the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline saves lives.
No matter your struggle, you are not alone. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is free, private, and always available.
988 Lifeline counselors are ready 24/7 to speak with you, help you cope, and get you connected to the support that is right for you.
988, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
This is Adam Gold.
He doesn't have many years to choose from.
No, and part of that was COVID. Nobody's picking COVID.
COVID was a great year.
Yeah.
Look, if you invested in Zoom,
oh, that was a good year. Yes.
You had a good year during COVID.
Yep.
The Adam Gold Show.
He's really kind of just bought into what we're doing. He is becoming a person we're counting on to communicate, particularly if you're playing the nickel spot. There's a lot that goes into your connection with the run fits, your connection with the safeties and coverage and leverage and those things. He's doing a great job, and he's even playing outside, some for us. So really fired up about Shaw. And I mean, he kind of came to us that way with that kind of pro mentality, the way he takes care of his body. I can't see right now over the fence, but I guarantee you he's out there working on something. It's a guy who's just really about the details of his work.
That's the voice of Dave Canales, head coach of the Carolina Panthers, discussing second-year defensive back Shaw Smith-Wade earlier today after Panthers training camp, and someone that can provide a lot of context regarding about Shaw Smith-Wade and the rest of the Carolina Panthers is a man who covers the team for the Charlotte Observer, Mike Kaye, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. And Mike, let's go and jump right into that right there, what Dave Canales said about Shaw Smith-Wade. Where have you seen Shaw Smith-Wade improve the most from last year, this year, and just really over the course of the summer?
Yeah, I just think he's very comfortable in his own skin. You hear him communicating. I mean, when I asked Dave that question, it was pertaining to a story I'm working on that'll be out Thursday. But There's a lot of buzz in that building, both on and off the record, about Shaw Smith-Wade. Like, of the guys that are getting built up internally, I think Shaw Smith-Wade is a guy that people are really excited about. And that's like a complete 180. Like, truthfully, last year he was very much on the bubble, even as a fifth-round pick, and now he's a guy that they don't think they just have two good outside corners. They feel like they have a great outside corner, a good outside corner, and a good nickel corner. And I think that's something that's been kind of lost in the sauce of this rework defense. And I think I've said it for months, they like their cornerback room much more than anybody else does. And, you know, that doesn't always work out, but Shaw Smith-Wade, at least in practice, is showing why that is.
That's Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I remember talking with Shaw Smith-Wade at different points last year, and I think it was just him getting used to playing inside. I mean, how big is this for Dan Morgan in that front office to find a player that eventually did become a starter in the 5th round?
Well, you know, when he was at the Senior Bowl, a bunch of coaches and scouts told him that he was going to have to move to nickel because of his size, because most teams want bigger, longer corners these days. And I think, you know, the Panthers scouted him as both an outside and inside corner, and I think, you know, it just took him, it was a matter of time. This kid is known for his football IQ. I think if he can be a prominent guy, you know, the sky's the limits for him. Nickel corner is one of the more involved spots on the defense. You have to play the run well, you have to blitz well, you have to cover well. You basically have to do everything. And I think they trust him to do things well because he has that experience on the outside. He has that experience now on the inside. And, you know, in the span of 16 or so months, he has become a very confident nickel corner.
There are a lot of questions, as you mentioned, after you get past the two outside corners with J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson and Shaw Smith-Wade as a slot corner. There are a lot of questions in the secondary, at least from our end of things. I know Shamar Bartholomew is a guy that's getting a lot of reps, but who has stood out to you on the roster outside of that starting group that can push for a roster spot this year?
Well, Bartholomew has had a couple of picks during the offseason program, and he had one today. But really, there's a guy who was undrafted, Corey Thornton, who's really impressed me. He's getting pretty strong reps. JC and Mike Jackson both were off today, and Thornton got plenty of play. I think he's a big physical corner. He kind of makes sense as a long-term immediate backup for JC and Mike Jackson. I think Bartholomew is probably better off in nickel and probably packaged outside corner stuffs. But Caleb Evans is a guy they liked coming in. I just think Thornton and Bartholomew have easily outplayed him thus far. But we'll see. I mean, again, I think they're going to keep their options open there, but they really like this cornerback group.
Any chance they go outside the roster to add to that position?
I think maybe after the Browns joint practices, they had a workout yesterday with a DB, and they had a couple of guys in last week. But right now, I think they want – here's the thing. If you have a bunch of inexperienced guys, you want to get them the reps, because if you bring in a guy to be like the main backup or the top nickel or whatever, those other guys aren't getting reps. And so if that player that you brought in doesn't live up to par or gets injured, those guys aren't prepared. So you want to stockpile reps for these younger guys so they can develop, instead of doing what they did last year with Shaw Smith-Wade, where he had to wait till basically like week 12 to get some quality experience. And I think that's a new philosophy this year. They want to get these young kids as many reps as possible, not just at corner, but in other spots as well.
Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Let's turn focus over here to the other side of the ball in the wide receiver group. There's been a lot of buzz about Hunter Renfrow. How difficult is Hunter Renfrow making it on Dave Canales and Dan Morgan in terms of who they keep at wide receiver?
I mean, if they have to make final cuts, let's say tomorrow, Hunter Renfrow's on this roster. Like, they're going to have to find a way. He started to take punt returns just because, you know, if they keep 5 or 6, 4 through 5 or 4 through 6 need to be special teams valuable. And I think, you know, I had high hopes for Dan Tazina, who was cut today. He'd been nursing a calf injury, got an injury settlement. And so I think that thins out the herd, so to speak. And I think, Hunter Renfrow is going to get some legit playing time if he keeps playing this way. Like, if he goes into the preseason and does what he's been doing in practice, like, I don't know how you keep that guy off the field, even with Adam Thielen there. I mean, if anything, I wonder about Jalen Coker's spot in the rotation, because really Coker should be the heir apparent to Thielen, but Hunter Renfrow is making it impossible not to keep him on the field. So it's an interesting dynamic right now.
If they keep 6 wide receivers, who do you think's the odd man out? Is it David Moore?
It depends. I mean, I could see a contender coming by and being like, hey, we'll give you a 5th for Adam Thielen. And, I mean, you might be hard-pressed to say no if you even Hunter and think he can be a starting slot receiver. I mean, Jimmy Horn has looked very, very good without pads. I didn't notice him at all yesterday when they had pads on. So I'm interested to see how he does in the preseason. There's always injuries. But David Moore makes sense because he's a vested veteran, so he's not subject to waivers. He also would have his full contract guaranteed as a vested veteran if he's on the week 1 roster. What you could do in theory with the new practice squad rules stemming from COVID, you could place him on the practice squad for a week, make waiver claims, do whatever you need to do, and then bring him back week 2 and put him on the main roster. Like, he is a guy that only really wants to play for Dave Canales, and so I think sometimes you have to kind of take advantage of that with roster construction.
Any chance or any scenario where they just go ahead and keep 7 wide receivers on the initial 53? Is there a chance that happens?
I mean, if the depth on the defense is terrible, sure, I guess. I mean, look, David Moore can play special teams. We know that. He can return, he can gun, he can do a lot of things. And he is very valuable internally. He's the guy that was brought in to bring along Coker and Leggett last year. He's doing the same thing with McMillan and Horn this year. I think he means a lot to their program, and I would kind of be stunned if he wasn't at the very least on the practice squad this year.
Mike Kaye, Charlotte Observer, joining us here. You mentioned a couple of those young wide receivers, and Tedero McMillan and Xavier Leggett. From let's start with Xavier Leggett, the second-year player first. From what I saw so far in the days that I've been able to get down to, whether minicamp back in June or training camp last week, it just seems like he's healthier with having the procedure on his foot. He just seems a little bit more confident. What have you seen from Xavier Leggett so far in camp in this offseason?
He's running with a lot of power. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in the middle of the field when Xavier Leggett runs a crossing route.
No, I don't want to
be. I'm not going to be able to bring him. But yeah. I mean, he is like a locomotive as a runner, and I think being used the Z position benefits him. I think they had hoped of making him an X receiver, but it was very clear during the second half of the season he lost like almost all of his explosion and his concentration, and it just like I think he needs to be off press. He needs to be able to be used in motion. His best route is a slant, and I think he's going to be deadly this year, especially if McMillan can take off the top of the defense and they can do some things at the X position, at the slot position to free him up a bit.
Speaking of McMillan, the catch radius and everything that was talked about him pre-draft, it's a real thing, and it seems like Dave Canales and Bryce Young have something that they just didn't really have last year, just that rangy wide receiver that can win 50-50 contested catches. We even saw it a couple days ago where he had that one-on-one rep against Mike Jackson and pulled down a tough catch on a great ball by Bryce Young. How much does the skill set of Tedero and McMillan just add a different element to this offense?
Well, I think he got off to a bit of a slow start. I think some of his inexperience kind of showed. Going up against J.C. Horn those first few days. But I think, like you said, like if the ball hits his hands, it's going to be caught. And I think that in itself is a cheat code. Now, what I'd like to see is him make some plays on balls that aren't particularly accurate. Because, like I always call A.J. Brown a kingmaker. He's a QB maker. You throw in his general direction, he's probably going to come down with it 9 out of 10 times and make you look better for passing it. I think that's where we need to see McMillan kind of develop. But as of right now, he's kind of going with the flow and doing his thing. And I think I think he's going to bring a lot of energy to this offense. I also think he is a guy who has some pretty subtle speed. Like yesterday, he caught a crossing route. He broke free very easily, by the way, in 11-on-11, just streaked across the field. Young hit him in stride, and he basically ran off of what would have been a 45-yard touchdown. So, like, the understated speed's there. I think he's got Gumby-like bend and movement ability, which is good in open space. I think they feel really good about him.
All right, final question for Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer. Again, check out the Charlotte Observer. Also, you can follow him on social media at Mike_E_K, Kaye. A final thing, let's go ahead and get actually to the rookies on the defensive side of the ball with Nick Scorton and Princely Umamielen. We've seen the flashes actually early on come from Umamielen, and the speed in which he has used so far in training camp is something we saw in college. Where have you seen the growth of these two so far from the summer, and what effect they can have so far in their rookie seasons on the defense?
What I kind of like about them is they complement each other so well.
Yep.
So, like, Scorton is more of, like, your classic strong side edge rusher where he's going to collapse on a tight end. He's going to collapse on a left tackle. He's going to make it a problem. Today he showed some pass rushing chops against Ike Ekwonu and Mitchell Evans. I think he's going to immediately be an upgrade from a run defense perspective, even over potentially Jadeveon Clowney. And then I think, Princely, he's going to win with his speed and his bend, and that was advantageous for him in the early days of no pads, because if you can win around the corners, offensive linemen can barely touch you because it's a limited contract drill. I'm interested to see what happens, because when they played the Browns and the Texans in joint practices, and they have to line up and go one-on-one against a guy who you haven't seen every single day and knows his tricks, I'm interested to see how both those guys kind of turn out. They're both from Texas, so I'm sure that Houston joint practice is going to be kind of interesting.
Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer, check out his work there. He does a phenomenal job covering the team. Mike, thanks so much for your time. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Absolutely, anytime. That's Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer. Again, if you want truly great inside information on the Carolina Panthers, give Mike a follow and read his work. He does an absolutely outstanding job. And Victoria, he brought up a couple of things. There's one thing that he mentioned, Victoria, when we were discussing the wide receivers that really stood out to me about the way Hunter Renfrow has been playing. And he said it, we said it as well, that if they were to cut down the roster today, Hunter Renfrow is making the team, plain and simple. But he threw out the scenario of, what if a team that was a contender that needed a wide receiver went and offered a 5th-round pick for Adam Thielen? That hadn't crossed my mind yet, Victoria. That hadn't crossed my mind, because now it's like, okay, we can get a pick, and that we know that we have a super effective slot corner or slot wide receiver in Hunter Renfrow that is the experienced guy. I was like, it popped into my head, and my initial thoughts were, one, haven't thought of it, but two, kind of don't hate it, if that makes sense. Especially if you're not sacrificing reps or a roster spot to some of the young guys like a Jimmy Horn Jr. or Jalen Coker or some of these other guys. That might be the solution, depending, again, if there's a contender out there that offers you a 5th. Again, that's what Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer threw out there. I thought that was a pretty interesting thought that I did not expect. I did not think of that as a possibility, but I don't know. That might be the solution. It might be the solution. And then I'm mentioning about David Moore, and I think David Moore, again, just if you want to play the math of it all in terms of the roster construction of him being the odd man out, because he is a vested veteran for how long he's been in the NFL. So if he's on the roster week 1, his contract is fully guaranteed for the season. So you can kind of do the, lack of a better term, gymnastics. Now his contract is only about $1.2 million. But you can let him go just before week 1 and then add him back to the practice squad and then elevate him, week 2. So that's a possibility to kind of work around and, keep 7 wide receivers on the roster. again, all things that are kind of fascinating. But there's still a lot of training camp left to go. There's still a couple joint practices, 3 preseason games. Knock on wood, health being a major factor into all of this, health being a big thing. Now, we talked a lot about continuity, Victoria. I want to play a couple more sound bites from Dave Canales, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, here for you all. Victoria, let's go ahead and go to the one about Dave Canales talking about the continuity of the offensive line and how that has shown up so far. Because I think it's vital for Dave Canales and, obviously all these wide receivers and everyone we're talking about, all these skill players. If you don't obviously have the offensive line that can protect and give Bryce Young time, then it doesn't matter how good your skilled receivers are. But the more repetitions and snaps and starts that offensive linemen have together, the better the continuity. Obviously, you need the individual skill, but better offensive lines become. Here's Dave Canales talking about how the continuity in the offensive line has shown up so far this summer.
Absolutely. I think just, as we're watching film and as we're grading it every day, just looking for the runs to be targeted properly, the protections to be targeted properly, where there's not a lot of free runners on the quarterback. Sometimes they have a blitz. They got one more than we have. The quarterback's got to make a decision. But I think it was from day one of this camp, targeting the runs properly, staying on the combos, the footwork that's in sync, getting those good double teams up front, handling different movement on the edges. A lot of those things take time. Those are things we were working through last camp and into the season. We come into this camp with a lot stronger, greater understanding of what's happening. I don't think I've ever been in 15 years. I don't think I've ever been involved where we brought every single person back from an offensive line. And we're talking about not just the starters, but the guys that are behind them and even the depth practice squad players. These are all guys that have physical attributes that we're excited about. And now they got more understanding of what we're doing. I'm really excited about, obviously the camp, but then getting into preseason games. As we start to get into our depth, we can start to evaluate guys more because they know what they're doing.
Well, you know how good this offensive line was last year in terms of the run blocking game. The biggest area you want to see them improve is just the pass blocking. And a big part of that, obviously, I mentioned is Ike Ekwonu. And there were a couple times where there's some moments last year where Taylor Moton got a little bit nicked up and there was a drop-off. Taylor Moton as a right tackle he's just solid. He's just you can just count on him day in and day out. If you know he's out there, he's just solid. Last year was the first time in his career that he's actually missed any sort of snaps because of injury. First time in his career. And he's in the final year of his contract as well. But you know that when he's out there, it's just, you don't have to worry about it. Now, we saw last year in the game at Tampa Bay where Taylor Moton wasn't in there, and it felt like Bryce Young was just under pressure all day. All day was just under pressure. But you know what these guys are capable of doing in the run game. Can they elevate themselves? Just get middle of the pack of pass blocking. The run blocking, in terms of run block win rate, if you get into the advanced numbers and stuff, was top 10 in the NFL. I think it actually was 10th. But they were towards the bottom of the league in terms of pass blocking. If they can get to just middle of the pack, Victoria, on their pass blocking, and obviously keep the run game where it was,
yeah.
Now you're talking literally the entire offense elevates itself. Bryce Young's more comfortable, has more time for receivers to get open. And guess what? Now everyone else flourishes. Everyone else flourishes as a result of that. Dave Canales, we talked to Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer just a little bit ago. And I think Victoria is actually posting that interview on our YouTube page, on 99.9 The Fan's YouTube page. It'll also be available on the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast. Brought great insight on both the secondary and the wide receiver group. But one of the names in the secondary that's getting a lot of buzz this offseason has been second-year cornerback Shamar Bartholomew. Shamar Bartholomew last year was an undrafted free agent signing of the New York Jets. Panthers actually had a joint practice with the New York Jets last year, actually here in North Carolina, in Charlotte, and they were impressed with Shamar Bartholomew. So when he hit the waiver wire on the initial 53-man cutdown day, the Carolina Panthers put a waiver claim in for Shamar Bartholomew. And actually, Shamar Bartholomew that day had the most waiver claims of any player in the NFL that first initial cutdown day. And Panthers had first priority last year So they obviously got Shamar Bartholomew on their roster, and they kept him pretty much stashed away on the roster. Didn't really play much last year until that final game of the year against Atlanta, but a lot of people were excited about his upside, and he had a big day today, including an interception at practice. Here's Dave Canales talking about Shamar Bartholomew on having a big day at camp.
Absolutely. I think with Shamar, just understanding the scheme, coming from the Jets, out of scheme, spent a year with us kind of learning, and showed up in the Falcons game at the end and made a couple of plays for us there. Couple of big battles with Drake London there in the end zone towards the end of the half. But Shamar's kind of taken this offseason. He had a really good spring. Came into camp and has been steady, but today I think was a big day for him. It was a big, just kind of what we've been challenging is to just make the play on the ball. You're in the right spot, have the confidence to go make the play. He did that today and came up with one.
There is the question, Mike Kaye said it, about how the Panthers feel really good about their cornerback room and feel way better about it than really any of us do. There's a major question. I think it's justified because it's relatively unproven that after you get past J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson as your outside receivers and Shaw Smith-Wade, who's developed and grown a lot in his going into his second year, but still a little bit of something to prove, but feel pretty good about those three. But once you get past that, a lot of major questions. Now, they want, obviously, some size on the outside. Shamar Bartholomew, 6'1", 200 pounds. But another guy that was mentioned in there was Corey Thornton, undrafted rookie out of Louisville, who's 6'1", 195. So, again, a little bit of a bigger size out there on the edge. To me, again, if you get past that top group of starters for the Panthers in the secondary, there's question marks, and justifiably so. Because, again, now you're asking Shamar Bartholomew and potentially Corey Thornton, two guys that were undrafted free agents, to step in and potentially start for you in case Mike Jackson or J.C. Horn goes down. And I love J.C. Horn. I really do. My only knock on him is his injury history. It's just a reality of what it is. But if the Panthers feel good about the secondary room, then that's the only thing that really matters. That's the only thing that really matters. This has been the Adam Gold Show. Adam Gold not in today. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam. Victoria producing the show. Adam, from my understanding, Victoria will be back tomorrow.
Yep, he'll be here.
So the band will be back together. Plenty of stuff going on. By the way, I know if you're a Carolina Hurricanes fan, be on the lookout tomorrow. Jackson Blake will be talking to the media tomorrow, late in the morning, as well as general manager Eric Tolsky. So if you're a Hurricanes fan, be on the lookout for that as well. Plenty of stuff going on. Victoria, thank you so much for your time. Thank you listening and watching with us today. Until next time, I bid you adieu. Goodbye and good night.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Here's how you know the Bill Belichick hype is through the roof. At ACC Media Kickoff, Dabo Swinney, one of the most popular, famous coaches in the country, was walking around giving interviews, and almost no one was following him. That's because every media member was up at Bill Belichick's press conference hoping for just a few seconds of audio from the UNC coach.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
This just in. Hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has expanded strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today. We're raising the bar with these benches. And our hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all the best-in-class equipment we've always had. There's no better time to get stronger. So join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Offer ends July 31st.
See Home Club for details.
I am here with Patrick Day of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I'm on your website,